Hey, Facts fam, how y'all doing? Welcome to the latest episode of Lost Tapes, episode 75. What you gonna do, cuz? This is the interactive newsletter for the Mo Facts with Adam Curry show. Let me go and get to the top so we can get speaking to the Facts family. Riley was in here 30 minutes early. Said get your popcorn ready, followed by Chris P, JDSD, Chad Farrell, what's up? How you doing? Shaw. Man, you got me. You got me on that one. Alicio. Who we got it? Donata. I think you came in late last time, but you're here early today. How you doing? Sophisticated Ignorance. How you doing, sir? I got your message on Instagram about leaving the Cash App and the PayPal open. I'm working, maybe switching to another platform to share with so we can take care of that so I can get live donations recognized on the show. And then, of course, we got Podcast 2.0 coming hot and heavy. We might start going live over there as well. Catherine, how you doing? Kyle, Derek 405, Daniel Pagan. Let's see. Oh, of course, Nikki. We got Nikki in the house. How you doing? Rob 3000ish, R Jr., Face to the Screen, TK, Matthew, Chance. How you doing? We got Mike in the house, followed by Michelle. NZ Priddle. How you doing, sir? Let's see, make sure I got everybody. Gold Bell. Okay, Judy S is in the house. Robert Case. I think I spoke to Mike, but I'll speak to Mike again just in case. And last but not least, some more people. Reeford Franklin. Chubby Subs. What's up, Chubby Subs? That's a great name. It made me laugh. We got Psychel. Everybody rolling in here now. Kyle, DMW, and I see I'm not the only one that would say DMV. I don't know what that is. DNWV. How you doing, sir? Let's see what we got. Okay, we got Tiger Auntie in the house. How you doing? Fax Machine. We're doing major things behind the scenes, y'all. We got some great stuff for y'all. Miss Tiffany says she's made it. Yep, you made it right on time. And I think I'm all caught up. All right, let's go ahead and get into the show. Let's see. Yes, definitely time to flame on. Definitely time to flame on. I appreciate the value for value. And man, hey, in this episode 75, there was a lot of love, a lot of value given. I didn't get to read everybody's notes from show 75 on show 76 because it would just made the show so long. If you feel like we didn't get to you, that's okay. One or two ways we can do it. Let us know and we'll catch you again because we got another show coming up Wednesday for 76. So we're going to be heavy this week. But then if you didn't feel like I got to you, that's cool. What we can do is either you can hit me on the booking the booking link. You can find that pinned to the top of the page. Or, reach out to me, email, however, we'll get it straightened out. Send me an email or some kind of DM on one of the socials, and we'll get to you. Hey, y'all press 1 if y'all are enjoying the question of the day. Carlton Way 1, I see you, bro. Y'all let me know. Press 1 if y'all are enjoying the questions of the day. I am enjoying adding them because what it does, it lets me find out a lot about you all. And as well, it lets me find out about you all and also fosters a lot of community and communication between the Facts family. So, that's the main thing. I love to see y'all talking to each other. That's really cool. Oh, y'all like the question of the day. And the most in question I've asked so far is a hot dog a sandwich? 1, if it's hot dog is a sandwich. 2, if a hot dog is not a sandwich. This is inquiring minds want to know This is the most important question asked around the world. Is a hot dog is a hot dog a sandwich? I think I had more conversation generated off that one question than any other question I've asked. And it's still divided. Two, like I see some twos here, it's not. Two, mostly twos. Okay. All right. Yeah. And look like we got some people here watching that know each other too. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. Yes, please hit the like button. Please share. And after the show or during the show, please leave a comment in the comments. I know you all are very active in the live chat, but also please leave a comment. It helps with sharing the channel. With all that said, we got all the data collection I need. It still looks like it's split on if a hot dog is a sandwich or not. This show is about anger. And so the one thing I found out most about this show is that people would hit me up and say, I didn't realize I was angry. Which was good. Wait a minute. We got Dirty Laundry Media in the house. I got to say what's up to this brother right here. He invited me to his channel. If you didn't catch us over on his channel, please do so. We had a great conversation with me, him, a few others, and Kwame Brown. So please check that out as well. That was good value to raise the profile of the channel. Hopefully there's some people here that, from that discussion that are new. All right, so now with all that said, going back to the anger, I didn't realize I was angry. So I had to do some self-assessment, and even though it's justified anger, it's anger nonetheless, and you have to either do something productive with that energy, or it will corrode at you. So what we want to do now is we're going to get into, further the conversation like we do on the Lost Tapes about anger, how it's perceived, and then we'll go from there. All right, so let's go ahead and hop into the first clip.
We have had a lot of instances of road rage in the news lately, most recently even fatal outcomes. We know that anger is a normal emotion, but recurrent rage is not. There is definitely a right and a wrong way to express it, and anger management counseling helps you learn the difference. Frustration, annoyance, normal, healthy emotions. Everybody experiences them at some point, but anger can motivate people to get involved in important causes or to stand up for themselves at home, work, or at school. Anger also alerts and prepares the body to react to potential danger. So in a nutshell, anger can be a good thing.
Anger can be a good thing if it's channeled the right way. And I appreciate that, Nikki. She said, I love to see your righteous anger. Look, it's only been fuel for me, and that's what this brother is saying here. And I'm going to be petty for a minute, but don't this brother look like he going to sell you a bean pie or something? I'm just saying without saying. I'm trolling. I'm trolling, y'all. Because I like to have a good time. But yeah, I'm using it as fuel for people behind the scenes that know what's going on. I got a lot of things going. I'm working with a lot of interesting people. And if you have time and talent value you want to send my way, use the booking information, and we can make it happen. But that's what I've been doing. What I didn't allow myself to do was become idle. That way it would fester. And that was very helpful for me to stay busy. So let's go ahead and continue. He's going to tell us how it can be bad.
What's not good is when people express anger in violent outbursts, or when they spend a great deal of time with simmering, with rage, or if they keep it all bottled up inside and don't express it at all.
That's the key point right there, keeping it all bottled up inside. And there is a difference between rage and anger. And that stewing, that not channeling out, yeah, bean pies are excellent, Mike. Yes, sir. But not channeling that anger out and letting it fester, it acts like a sore, it acts like a wound, and it only becomes worse and starts to eat away at you. So the main thing is getting out. So let's go ahead and let this brother finish with his clip.
People who have trouble displaying anger in a healthy way may experience a host of problems. Physically, they're more prone to headaches, high blood pressure, and digestive problems. Emotionally, chronic anger can cause clinical depression or even anxiety. So
let's stop right there and go to this slide. And you see here, it says body, mind, emotions, and behavior. So this anger causes stress, and stress for the body, it causes headaches. And I'm not a doctor. Let me make that clear, YouTube. I am not a doctor. This is only from my perspective and where I got the slide from. To the body, stress can cause headaches, frequent infections, taut muscles, muscular twitches, fatigue, skin irritation, and breathlessness. For the mind, it can cause worrying, muddled thinking, impaired judgment, nightmares, indecision, negativity, and hasty decisions. And this is one of the most dangerous ones right here is these hasty decisions. Because if you're stewing in negativity, it may cause people to lash out and make short-term decisions that have long-term consequences. So I want to bring that to the forefront. On the emotional side, you lose confidence. And this is why I made this show. As the earner, as the breadwinner, as the provider in my house, when you're not providing and when you're not working, it's really, you can really have a loss of confidence. And then it becomes a very nasty cycle. So yes, Stephen Page. And that's that going postal thing I was saying, kind of teasing in previous shows. Not me. Let's be clear. Not me. No. But that could be an effect of this whole Vaseline situation. And there have been a couple of situations where I believe they were related, but they covered it up. A couple being, I think, in Memphis, Tennessee. So I just want to bring that to the light. But more fussy, you're around the house more, then you become more fussy. That can cause relationship problems, either between you and your spouse or loved ones. Irritability, depression, apathy. Apathy is another one when you just give up and it's just like, you just give up on life. And like I said, to varying degrees, I went through these, just to be honest with you. It's just us family talking. I went through not all of these, but some of these. Alienation and apprehension. And then on the behavioral side, you have accident prone, loss of appetite, loss of sex drive, drinking more, and drugs, and addictive behavior, whether it's betting can be one. Shopping can be one. So you're around the house more. And this is one thing that possible reptile dysfunction. Oh yeah. Yeah, I actually did a post on that, about how it could have effect on that. But this drinking more. Let's stop right here for a second. Already, with people working from home, drinking has trended up because you're home. You're not in the office. You're not around people. So where you may have started 6 p.m., you might start at 2 p.m. now. Happy hour might start at lunch instead of dinner. Right before dinner. So I'm bringing these all to the forefront because these all can be destructive behaviors that can spin out of control. Insomnia, restlessness. Insomnia is a real one. Now, that's one thing I did go through. My sleep schedule was thrown off because when you're working, you have a routine, and insomnia, in a sense, I can never sleep late because as soon as the sun comes up, I have to be up. But late nights, just not harping really, but thinking on what's the next move, you know what I'm saying, trying to make the shows better. Saying, okay, this is my, my full-time job now. So I gotta get a Facts Family even better shows. So I went through that, restlessness, and more smoking more. So this smoking and drinking, those have health problems, and then you just cycle back into the body. So just be cautious of that. If you're saying, if you are angry, it's just not only anger, but you have to have these things that go along with it. But let's get back to the clip.
You know if your anger is run-of-the-mill and healthy or out of control and harmful. Constant angry feelings are a problem, plain and simple. If they regularly cause you to react in ways that you regret, whether that's physically hurting those around you or emotionally disrupting your relationships. If people appear afraid of your reactions, if you have regular run-ins with the law, or if you attempt to intimidate others with your anger, you likely need help managing your emotions.
Bullying. Okay, Stephen Pay, I saw that. Yeah, me and Adam gonna have to talk about that virtual reality versus physical reality, because that's kind of binary, and we don't want to do binary, because that's kind of like the anti-vax versus pro-vax kind of thing. It's deeper than that. I mean, because, hey, I would be considered a virtual reality kind of person because I was working virtual, and you know what I'm saying, I still got sacked. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a great conversation when we broach that, if we have a chance to on the next show. But let's see, to make sure. Yes, momentum. That's another one. Yep. Your momentum definitely gets broken. But let's go ahead and finish.
The bottom line is this: if you have a problem with anger, you probably instinctively know it already. When that's the case, it's important to see a mental health professional to learn healthy ways to manage your anger. So if you don't, you actually may get into a situation that can cause you serious harm or death, or at best a serious inconvenience like jail time. So just remember, if you are in your car and somebody cuts you off while you're riding around this holiday weekend, take some deep breaths and let it go. I'm medical editor Dr. Corey Bear with your Weekend House Call.
And that's a good one. Breathe. Just breathe. Take deep breaths. Get outside. Get in the sunlight. That's a good point, Uber Tramp. Definitely, you're saying, for those, if you believe in that kind of thing, possession. Let's see. Common Stell says, yeah, Mo, you're making the right moves and addressing the wrong ones. Right. So I just want to make sure you're saying we're on to that. So let's go ahead and get into the difference between anger and rage. All right. So anger and rage. Here we go. Anger and rage come from the same beginning. So they start off the same way. We feel frustrated, irritated, upset about something, right? If we use anger as a guide to know what we are not happy about, and then calmly let the other person know where our personal boundaries lie, anger protects our well-being. So obviously, when you're angry, something's not right in your spirit. Something's not right with you. You're not feeling, in your comfort zone. And your personal boundaries are being infringed upon. And that's when you start showing the signs of frustration, being irritated, and being upset. So with that says, it says, but if we judge ourselves for our anger and repress it instead of expressing it, it can negatively affect both our health and our relationship. And if we refuse responsibility for our anger, then we enter in the territory of rage. So hopefully this is helping somebody. Because once you have to realize that you're angry, because we all tell that lie. And that was another one of the questions. What's a lie that you tell the most, right? And a lot of people says, I'm okay. And what we have to realize is it's okay not to be okay. And that's one of the most important things I want to do with this community that we're forming, is to say, I'm not okay. You have to lie to your spouse. You have to lie to your kids. You have to lie to your I'm saying, extended family, your neighbors, you know what I'm saying, they see you not, you know what I'm saying, not leaving the house, but, to go to work on your, you know what I'm saying, your daily routine. And then they're like, oh, are you okay? Everything all right? Yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay. Yeah, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to keep up that front, especially as a man, because, and I can only speak from the perspective of a man, but it's like, I don't want them to know I'm not okay. Right. Thank you, Denai. Right. It's not okay. It's okay not to be fine. And a lot of people, it's a reflexive answer. How are you doing? Oh, I'm fine. I'm good. I'm okay. Really assess. And now I'm not saying go and tell everybody your business either, because that can cause other problems. But people that you know what I'm saying, you can confide in, like, hey. And that's what E-Class for me. I like to give people their flowers while they're living. E-Class, was that one person I could go to outside of my family and, and my spouse, and say, hey, bro, you know what I'm saying? He'd be like, you good? Like, man, hey, you know what I'm saying? I'm a little hot today, you know what I'm saying? And he'd be like, it's going to be all right, you know what I'm saying? And then he would encourage me like, hey, you know what I'm saying? You got good stuff. I mean, you got the show going for you. You got other opportunities going for you. You know what I'm saying? Don't let it get you down, that kind of thing. I appreciate that, Mike. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully, like I said, I just want to bring people who are saying things that help me. But it's good to have a friend like that. So what you had to do is, that's a good point there, is really, first of all, if you look at this slide, it says, let me see what it is. Then calmly letting a person know where our personal boundaries lie. Okay. So you had to identify those boundaries to see if somebody encroached on those boundaries, right? And that's why I had to realize that my boundaries was encroached upon. And, I was like, okay, I'm not feeling myself. I'm not feeling myself. So yeah, and that was very helpful. So what we're going to do now is, let's see. We want to go to the next slide. Let's see. Do we want to go to the next slide? Yeah, let's talk about types of anger. First, you have repressed anger. And I think that's the one I was dealing with. The repressed, pushing it down, putting a smile on, that kind of thing, right? Let's see. How does somebody say, good step, Nikki? What did Nikki say? Let me see. Hold on. I'm going to not miss the good advice. Nikki said, transparent moment with the fam. I had to start going back to a therapist 3 weeks ago. Thanks, Mo, for this. Hey, and there's nothing wrong with going to therapy. There's nothing wrong with reaching out and talking to a friend or a professional or whoever. It's it's like it's better out in the end. You had to get that. It's kind of like a spiritual infection is what it is. Thank you for Donata for pointing that out so I could go back and get Nikki's comment. But back to the type of anger I was dealing with. It was repressed anger. And this is when you don't acknowledge your anger, but try to push it away and ignore it. All your angry thoughts and feelings bottle up, and it does not lead, and it does lead to side effects, such as difficult relationships and poor mental and even physical health, or eventually explosions or misplaced rage. I didn't get to the point of rage or in mental health issues, but I could be a little prickly. And it, like I said, it wasn't that I was having problems with, anybody in particular. It was the fact that, man, I can't believe they fired me. And the way they fired me, like they sent me a form letter. Hold on. Did I read y'all? Y'all person wonder if I read y'all the form letter? I think I did, but let me just go back through it again. Hold on 1 second. 1 second. Well, I'm coming. I gotta find this because I want to share with y'all. I want to be completely transparent with y'all about this if I can find it. And the reason why I have it is I'm gonna have it framed. I'm gonna have it framed because honestly, this is my freedom paper, but it says hello, not my name, nothing. Hello. In the November 4th, 2021 email communication sent to you placing you on leave of absence beginning November 20th, 2021. You were informed that if you did not upload your vaccine card information confirming you were fully vaccinated by January 24th, your employment will be terminated. And it goes on. It says you didn't do it. Regards, employee relations. Now, that's how somebody treats you after 15 years of, you know what I'm saying, I think honorable service. Now, like I said, it's not that, look, 405, I'm not going to burn it because that's my motivation. That's my, like I said, that's my freedom papers. See, I took it from a positive to a negative, and sometimes you had to take things like that. And say, you know what? This allows me to do what I'm supposed to be doing full time. And you know what? That company, they gave me 15 years of solid employment. I can't be mad at them. Right. Thank you, Judy. That's part of my history. You know what I'm saying? So but just the fact that you don't put my name on it, it's very impersonal. You know, and then you're angry at, you know what I'm saying, the government or whatever, everything that transpired. But then I had to, you know what I'm saying, reframe it. But let's get back to repressed anger because there's something to this. It's a reason, it's a cultural reason why I didn't want to show my repressed anger. And it's because of the angry black male stereotype. Right? And that is a real stereotype. Right. And that's the thing. I'm building my own. Like, they just freed me up to work on this thing full time. So, I mean, I'm not even spicy, but, you know, it was that ego. I had to realize what it was. It was my ego because I had lost control of the situation. It was the ego I was wrestling with. Not with what happened, because, I mean, I had no control over that. It was how I would accept what happened to me. And you know, that passing thought, like, how dare them, the audacity, that kind of thing. So, that's what I was dealing with. But there's this thing, you know, called the angry black male stereotype. So what I'm going to do now is get into some about the black male stereotypes. And I found this of all places on Open Society's George Soros YouTube channel. Can you believe that? Can y'all believe that? So let's get into this next clip, and we're going to talk about it.
Americans are really very fair-minded, egalitarian people. We believe in equality for all races, all genders. The challenge is that while our conscious selves are egalitarian, we still hold these unconscious or somewhat implicit biases that have been primed in us over many years, largely through media and culture. One of those stereotypes is we equate black men with fear.
Okay, she said about fear. And look, I'm telling you, this is from Open Society Foundations. Who are we? Open Society Foundations, founded by George Soros. So I got to ask myself, why is George Soros studying black stereotypes? Would that be convenient for the whole Black Lives Matter situation? So they could do case studies on how people react and how they could trigger people? But I digress. Going back, who are we? The Open Society Foundation, funded by George Soros, are the world's largest private funder of independent groups working for justice, democratic governance, and human rights. We provide thousands of grants every year through a network of national and regional foundations and offices, funding a vast array of projects, many of them now shaped by a challenge of the COVID pandemic. Yeah, home of the Soros sisters. Yeah, so you're saying, like, right. So it seems like George is doing some psychological analysis on the black male. Shouts out to my man Grump. Let's get back to the clip from Open Society.
When race drops into a conversation, our executive brains shut down on both sides. So if you are a white American who is, a very fair-minded person, when race is presented to you, your brain will start to wonder, is what I'm about to say next going to be perceived by the other person as racist or biased? And if you are of color, your brain likewise shuts down, right? It says, okay, is something about to come at me that might be an opportunity to invalidate my life experience? Both of your brains are going into fight or flight mode. It's just
lizard brain right there. Lizard brain. Old George is studying how the lizard brain works. Surprise, surprise. Surprise, surprise. What's up, Ned? How you doing, bro? And I see you chubby subs. Enjoy your dinner. But yeah. Oh, George is doing psychological analysis on the lizard brain and how it impacts us. That's very lizard of him. But there is some truth in here. There is some truth in here because the repressed anger, I'm not going to say it's exclusive to black men because now we see how toxic masculinity has cropped up. That, you don't want to seem like the angry man. You don't want to seem aggressive, that kind of thing. But this has been long going that it's a psychological reflex not to get too angry. Because not the fact that your anger is not justified, but nobody wants to be a stereotype. Nobody. I mean, that's like blondes. They don't want to live up to their stereotype or whatever. I mean, like nobody wants to live up to a stereotype. So you're conscious of that. And it's in your subconscious. You see what I'm saying? So, it's just, right. Thank you, Riley. Our subconscious, right on the head. Our subconscious is being weaponized because they make you hyper aware of how you're perceived. So then it acts against you. And then when it acts against you, you repress that anger. The anger builds up, and either destroys you internally or comes out externally as rage. And this is some high-level programming they're doing. Very high-level programming. Let's back it up a little bit so she can explain the lizard brain one more time.
Racist or biased. And if you are of color, your brain likewise shuts down, right? It says, okay, is something about to come at me that might be an opportunity to invalidate my life experience? Both of your brains are going into fight or flight mode. It's just not a recipe for a meaningful, honest dialogue around something that's so critical and so important. Some of the work that we've been doing.
All right, so before we get to the work that they're doing, let's get the common stealth grower. You going rutabagas? When I got fired, the only thing I was thinking the whole time was not to come off angry, shaking my head right. Not because you were afraid to show your emotions, but because you didn't want to become a stereotype, I assume. Because I felt the same thing. It's like you don't want to seem like you're thirsty for a job, that kind of thing. You don't want to seem like you're needy. You don't want to panic or, set off worrying amongst your family members. So you repress that anger and can easily come and become rage. But let's go and listen to their methods. Make sure I miss any. Man, y'all are very active in the live chat tonight. I love that. I love that y'all talking to each other. Right, that's the point. Angry men in general, because they made anger a sign of toxic masculinity. And the thing, man, bear pig, one thing I always say, it starts with us. It started with us, now it's rolling out to everybody, the programming. And Yuri did talk about this. He did talk about this. Thank you, William. Please hit the like button, everybody. I appreciate that. So, right. Thank you, Carlton Way One. Right. BLM is a Soros experiment. And that's where do you think he spent all his money understanding how anger affects people? Right. And like I said, it's anger against men. Once again, I'll go back to the toxic masculinity meme that little boys can't show any forms of aggression or it's toxic. It's okay. It's going to be okay. Thank you, Natasha. We was talking about the question of the day earlier. All right, so let's go ahead and keep on going and listen to, you know what I'm saying, let her finish up with this clip.
Brains are going into fight or flight mode. It's just not a recipe for a meaningful, honest dialogue around something that's so critical and so important. Some of the work that we've been doing with the Campaign for Black Male Achievement is really trying to disarm people's anxiety around dealing with race and black men and boys. If you are
Let's listen to that one more time.
Some of the work that we've been doing with the Campaign for Black Male Achievement is
So they're doing black male achievement, Soros is, at the same time while funding Black Lives Matter, which told you that black men are not needed in the home. Do you see this? Right, black male achievement on one side. I see what you did there. Hold on, Derek. I see what you did there. Black male achievement. Very, very good pun, sir. Very good pun. But yeah, or that may be a double entendre. I don't know which it is, but that's a very good one. Yeah. Thank you, double entendre. Thank you. But yeah, so they're funding Black Lives Matter on one side, saying the men's not needed in the house, and then they're doing black male achievement on the other side. Right. Soros, right there it is. Soros is running an operation conditioning on the black population. Right. He's understanding. I appreciate that, Fred. Thank you. But he's understanding how to manipulate his subjects. And people, I had some people saying, Mo, why you always talk about race? You always talking about race. People even got frustrated with me. That is going to be the major trigger. That, don't y'all see now? That is going to be the major trigger. And this has been the issue with America, because unlike other nations who have a more homogenous population, America with its, you know what I'm saying, a very mixed up population, it makes for excellent race makes an excellent striking point to fracture it. And our enemies understand that. But let's let her go and finish what telling us Soros' plan.
Really trying to disarm people's anxiety around dealing with race and black men and boys. If you are conscious of the fact that you are stereotyping someone, conscious of the fact that you are treating someone differently, when you're confronted in that situation, you will self-correct. That can affect us whether we're talking about our daily informal interactions or whether we are talking about improving the jury instructions or improving the ways teachers or police officers or doctors actually interact with patients who happen to be black men.
All right, so that's, like you can see here, Open Society Foundation. So with that said, let's see which way we're gonna go with this. Where we gonna go? Which way we gonna go? Now we had to, since we talked about just using the fear as a mechanism, and that's the most recognized stereotype externally towards, you're saying, black men. Let's get on the other side of that and explain the angry black person bias. And this is the NAACP, another organization that we can't trust. Oh, hold on. Let's stop right here. Thank you, Lanvi. Notice how angry women are simultaneously encouraged as anger and men are discouraged as toxic. Right. That's exactly right. And that goes into the racial thing. If you notice, companies actually seek out aggressive, quote unquote, women of color, colored women, you know what I'm saying, to go in and shake things up. But at the same time, quote unquote, men of color or colored men, or men in general, but more specifically, you know what I'm saying, let's just say black men, we're told to stand down, because if we ever show any signs of aggression, it sparks fear in society. Nikki said black women can't be angry at work. Now, Nikki, I'll push back on that a little bit, because you can't be angry at work that's not sanctioned. If it's sanctioned by the corporation, it's the DMV trope that you see. You know what I'm saying? Take a number, sit down, shut up, get back in line. If it's sanctioned for their benefit, they'll allow you to be angry, but you can't be angry on your own accord. So that's why we had to have these conversations, because there's nuance to it. And, you know, and they actually look for what's your girl from Scandal? Pope, Olivia Pope. They like that kind, that go in and shake things up, you know, turn things over kind of. They love to channel that out of you, but you can't be angry on your own accord. That's how it works. In the same way with, you know what I'm saying, men, they like our anger when they can channel it to their own means. All right. So let's go ahead and get into this next one. And this is from the NAACP.
Garrett says he deals with the angry black person bias often.
If you demand justice, in that case, just to demand justice like anyone else, you're now being aggressive.
Garrett is the Criminal Justice and Political Action Chair for the NAACP in Sacramento. He says the stereotype dates back to slave masters.
And if they could paint a picture of black people in general being angry, hostile, and otherwise, then they could then justify any behavior that came towards them, whether it be hitting them with the whip, whether it be restraining them, whether it be using any force necessary.
Garrett says it's also something commonly seen in schools. For example, a recent study shows black boys in Sacramento City schools were 4 times more likely to be suspended during the 2018-2019 school year than their white peers.
The number of black children in Sacramento who are suspended using exclusionary types of methods of suspension, expulsion, sent out of class, after school detentions, etc., compared to their peers doing the exact same behavior.
He says,
see, and this is where we get into the psychological difference that's made. And this is where, you know, black people brains are different. You know, we're seen as in less control of our emotions. This is where lack of understanding of cultural differences. Like Bernie Mac said, we ain't gonna hurt nobody. We ain't gonna hurt nobody. You know what I'm saying? Like that kind of thing. Like when the voice goes up, you know, when the bass gets deep in the voice, that's when people get nervous. To the point where I said on the show, even when I'm sitting in thought, or when I used to be sitting in thought, and you get that scowl on your face, people would be so nervous they would come at you. Okay, you okay? To the point that would frustrate me. You know, it would actually frustrate. Like, man, why you keep asking me? Am I okay? I'm fine. I'm just in deep thought. But it's that, and it's really shaped by the media, because only time some people are aware of other people is through the media. So it's like they paint it out like, oh, he's gone crazy, he's a madman, that kind of thing. And that goes back to what we were talking about before. And that was right here, the repressed anger. And I think that's what Nikki was talking about. And see, it's even spilling over to the women now, because that repressed anger is like, I don't want to be a stereotype. I don't want, you know, it's not out of fear of showing your emotions. It's out of being a fear of living, you know what I'm saying, making a stereotype true. That's the concern. It's not about, you're saying, want to hide your emotions. The fact, like, I don't want them to think, you know, it's kind of like how people, I'll give you an example. It's kind of how when you don't have money, you spend more money because you don't want people to think you broke. So you end up spending more money than you should to prove that you don't have money, but it only makes the problem worse. It would be synonymous to that. Let's see what Derek had to say. He said, I do use that low bass voice sometimes better than raising it up. And right, and that's what Kanye would talk about, the African-American voice. That's, you bump it up a couple of octaves. Like, yes, how you doing? Yeah. Yes. Oh, excellent. Oh, yes. Oh, that's great. That's that. See, because it's less threatening. It's less threatening. And that's why people do that. They bump them octaves up so they won't be as scary. Now, that's something I never did that. I've always spoke, how I speak. What's up, Jay Favors? Right. You can't live without someone thinking you're mad. Right. And you know why? Because those tropes are pushed in the media. Like I said, I'll go back to the DMV lady again. That is pushed in the media. And they do that by design. All right, so I think we stopped at. Did we finish that clip? No, we didn't. Let's get back into the NAACP clip.
Bias is common use in courtrooms when a black person is involved.
The goal is to lower the value of his testimony so that what he's saying is viewed more through a sense of emotion than from an outcome of fact. If the defense can make him angry, if the defense can, and when they say make him angry, meaning get enough people to agree that this black man is angry, which already fits a stereotype, then that helps them in their ability and their desire to actually refute his claim.
He said
that's the point where I'm saying right there, when you meet that stereotype. And like I said, that's lack of understanding. And that's why it's great when the Facts family comes here, because we get cultural understanding from each other. So it's like, oh, that's why so-and-so does that or does this, or, okay, I didn't understand that. I didn't see that. But like I said, the media paints these things to keep pushing division. All right, so I missed it. It said, think about it from the stand-up comedy angle. Let's see here. I saw somebody say something I want to get to. Oh, Nikki, once again. At work, I even had to watch my body language in order to not feel like I am intimidating anyone. Right. The flailing on the arms, very expressive kind of things, that makes a lot of people nervous. Yep. So that's another great point. Let's go ahead and finish up with this clip.
there are things that people outside of the black community can do to put a stop to the stereotype.
I think it's speaking up and being more understanding of the scenarios. Believe black people when they tell you that this don't feel right, and the only thing that differentiates me from the rest of the group is that I'm black.
Garrett says the awareness is there, but more people need to take action.
And even when people had to speak up for you, that makes it even worse. It's like, oh, I can't speak for myself, and then people will come in and try to speak for you. All right, so let's go keep it moving. And we're going to get into now. I just want to take a quick, since we're on stereotypes, I want to point out something about stereotypes, because this was deep-seated in my anger. And the fact of being unemployed is often equated with being lazy. And that's another stereotype, you're saying, that black men wrestle with, and it's nothing new. I have this clip from the 1960s where black men are in a room and they're just debating the stereotype of laziness. And that's something like, wow, like, I'm gonna be honest with you all. Like, I would lie by omission about working. You know, people are like, how work going? I'm like, good. And I didn't get into it. I didn't say, oh, well, I'm not working anymore. I'm not, but because of that fear of living in that stereotype of laziness. And like I said, it's not, I could care less what people think, but it's like, I work so hard not to appear lazy, and damn it, here I am. You know what I'm saying? Out of work. Yeah, man, look, I owe the Facts family 2 episodes. I'm sorry, HFS Devil. I owe the Facts family. The only 2 people you don't want to owe is IRS and the Facts family when you owe them shows. So I got to get back on the track. I had to get 75 in today, and then we'll be back Wednesday. Got Laura willing to get, 76 out the way. But let's go ahead and get into this clip on laziness.
Here who feels that man is not basically lazy or that people are not basically lazy?
I haven't had no rosy life, and I don't think there are very few in here that have had a real rosy life. And like I still about the point that I agree that basically that man is mostly lazy. Now, I was motivated by OIC to come and better myself, to, in other words, I see other people with good jobs.
Hold on. Miss Tiffany, that's very interesting. I didn't know that you learn something new every day. She said Run DMC had to rap in a higher tone to not seem threatening or scare non-black people. That I didn't know that. That's very interesting. Thank you for sharing that. And speaking of lazy, I'll tell you one person that ain't lazy. That's my man Tyree Amir. If y'all not following him on Instagram, please do. This young brother, musician, boxing, horoscopes, number readings. I think he even sell Amway. You know what I'm saying? This brother be getting it in. What's up, Tyree? Nice to see you could join tonight. But let's back it up a little bit so the dude could talk about the jobs and in correlation with laziness.
About the point that I agree that basically that man is mostly lazy. Now, I was motivated by OIC to come and better myself, to, in other words, I see other people with good jobs, good houses, you know, nice things. I say to myself, well, now, why can't I get off of my lazy behind and get some of these things?
Colored kids have no image. Our images are white. There's no ambition. Who can we say that was great?
There's a lot of the Negroes complain about we never had. I grant you, the Negro has been discriminated against 100%. Yes, I grant you that. But not only the Negro, but look how many Jews. Look how many Jew people were burned in thousands. But yet these people didn't let it stop them. They wanted something. They wanted. That's right. So why can't the Negro do that?
Brother right here, that's a whole meme right there. How you looking at the I need that meme ASAP. Right. And you know what? Look at how these serious men can get in a room together and have a conversation, a meaningful conversation. We need more of this. We need more of this. I think a lot of times men, and I'm not gonna put race on this, men in general are represented by less serious people. We need, I'm saying, right, we need more serious people. And like I said, that goes into the whole Neely Fuller silly mode as well. But bro looking at him like, word? Like for real? Right, Michelle? Let's continue on. I'm going to get this meme, and I'm going to start using it on the internet, on social media.
Stop being lazy. Stop waiting for someone to hand something out to you.
That's right.
These men aren't lazy. They were just beaten down so that they didn't believe they could get up.
And that's real. Like I'm saying, being beaten down to the point where you're conditioned where you don't think you can get up. Like I said, and that's not where we're at right now. I think right now the way they do it is they portray that still exists in the media. So people, it's kind of like when they say when you put a lid on a jar, the bug won't, once it hit its head a couple times in the jar, it'll stop even trying to get out. And now the lid has been taken off thanks to the advent of the information age, you know what I'm saying? And just there's so much information plentiful that they really can't stop you. And I'm living proof of that. Look, I took a laptop and a microphone, and you know what I'm saying, and a USB thing, and I'm saying I'm speaking to the world. That was unheard of. That was unheard of then. Right? You know what I'm saying? So we're not going, that's why we had to, sometimes people think I harp on the media and why the media is so important, but the media shapes our ideas of what perception, and our perception what reality is. We live in the information age now where you can do anything through the computer. You can learn anything. I think they say like certain courses you can learn how to, right, USB thing, very technical. USB interface, thank you. You just had to call me out. Who is that? Don't hack me, bro. Yeah, don't troll me, bro. No, I'm messing with you. But yeah, my USB interface, laptop, microphone, and I'm speaking to the world. It's because I took a chance. Right? So that's what we have here now, that, you know, I'm taking a chance on myself. And like I said, 14 weeks to learn how to code. Even less than that to get CDLs. You know, you can reinvent ourselves over and over and over and over again. Right. So, yeah, Johns. Yeah. Yeah, please share this. You know, because there's a lot of men that may be going in the ball or in the bag or in their feelings right now, but we ain't gonna do that. We gotta build. We gotta reinvent ourselves over and over again. Let's get to the brothers again talking about laziness.
A man has to believe he comes from something, that he comes out of something, that he's somebody. Therefore, he has to be traced back to where he began. So
I disagree with this. What I'm saying, history is important, but family history is far more important. Understanding who you are, looking at your father, looking at your grandfathers, understanding your DNA and genetic makeup, what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, and say, you know what, I'm going to break that generational curse of this, fill in the blank. You know, they struggle with this. This is what their strengths. I'm going to build out these strengths. See what I'm saying? That's what we had to do. You know what I'm saying? It's not looking back, you know what I'm saying, what were my ancestors, where we came from. You know what I'm saying? Well, you a Pan-Africanist, or are you coming from the Dame Calloway school? That doesn't matter as much as knowing who your father is and who his fathers was and who your mother's fathers was and your mother and your people are. So you can understand what components genetically make you up and what your strengths are. So I'll push back against this a little bit, but I'll let it continue on.
so they can have a sense of pride for being what he is. Once a man has respect for what he is, he doesn't have to hate anymore.
We do not have to be better than other men, and we are not, in fact. We are a group of men. We have a genius here and there, a fool now and then, and most people are just average. Now, we will have to be viewed as such, and it has to be, the nation must face the fact that black Americans received a hell of a lot of help.
And that's a good point. I saw yours as well, Stephen. It's or who not to be. He said, my grandfather was a self-made man in spite of the people he came from, right? So if you understand when them generational curses lie, it's like, oh, my family struggled with alcoholism, I'm not going to drink. Or my family struggled with poverty, I'm going to be fiscally responsible. We're not, it's that nature versus nurture. No, I don't have super chat. But you can hit me in the PayPal or the Cash App if you feel compelled to. But yeah, it's understanding who you are and you're the components of them. But that nature is nature versus nurture, right? And then even if it's nature and nurture, you still have the ability to be your own person. But it's always good to know who you are. So I want to just push back on that, but let's continue on.
Getting in the predicament we're in, we're going to need just as much help getting out of it. I'm sure that when black children can look and see that there was a king that was black with woolly hair, just like them, who ruled over an empire larger than the United States, like Mali was larger than the United States.
Once again, I disagree with this. I mean, now history is important. No, that's why a lot of people in a lot of nations spend money on history. But seeing your father rule over his house, or understanding the lack of the father in the house, the impact of it was on you. You know what I'm saying? That'll make you carry yourself differently. You know, so like I said, I disagree with what you're saying with some of this. You're saying what they're saying. And matter of fact, like I said, I wanted to just push back on this, but more of the laziness. We have to really, understand who we are. Right, and that's another thing, Nikki. Look how they're dressed. These are serious men. And the reason why our nation is really deteriorating is because the seriousness of men are deteriorating. But let's go ahead and get into another clip. Let me load. I gotta load it. Gotta load it up. I got another clip. All right, hold on. I'm gonna kill that one. Let me do this right quick. Let me load up the next clip. I mean, literally, like the next. I mean, I got the cannon loaded. Boom. That's right. Boom. They got to load up the cannon. Let's see here. Let me do this right quick. So what we have here now, people may say, oh, well, we're in a different time as far as, completely racism is over. We're in a post-racial society. And that's not necessarily true, but it's not necessarily because of biological reasons. It's because of expectations and stereotypes and things of that nature. It's not biological. So what we're going to do now is we're going to get into this next clip. And this is black men face economic disadvantages even if they start out in wealthier households. And I found this clip to be very interesting. Let's go ahead and get into it.
Series by Tina Knowles Lawson highlights the impact of harmful stereotypes.
Wrong clip. Let's get that one out of here. That's what happens when you're distracted. You try to do two things at once. Here we go. This is the one I want.
New research finds class matters a lot less in America when it comes to economic mobility for black males. Income inequality is often cited as an important factor in holding people back. But a new analysis suggests black boys and black men face economic disadvantages even if they start off from a similar point of income and wealth as their white counterparts. Yamiche Alcindor is back with our conversation.
A new study released this week underscores just how big a gap African-American males face when it comes.
And the reason why I think this is my hypothesis, is because you're not learning. Well, I'm going to say this. You are learning victimization mentality. I think that has a lot to do with it. And so you're apathetic, and it's like, well, life is going to do with me what it will. So I'm just going to lay down and let life just roll over me. I think that's a heavy component of that as well. Of course, we have, institutionalized and systemic racism, but I think more of that feeds into the apathy than the actually oppression itself.
Comes to moving up the economic ladder. Some of the findings are dramatic. White boys who grow up in rich households are likely to remain that way. Black boys who are also raised at the top are more likely to become poor instead of staying wealthy in their own adult households. Black boys fare worse than white boys in 99% of America.
Yes, Nikki, that's her. That's her. That's the one.
Even when children grow up next to each other with parents who earn similar incomes. Raj Chetty of Stanford University is one of the co-authors of this study. He joins me now. Thank you so much, Raj, for being here. This report seems to indicate that black men will fare worse than white men, even if they are raised in households with similar incomes. Can you explain what's happening there?
Thank you. And it's pardon Tyree's language, please. But this is what time we on right here. F all the weak stuff. I ain't no victim to nothing. I'm the same way, right? This is how young men are thinking, like men, right? We've had enough generations of this. Oh, poor me, that kind of thing. No. It's no more poor me, and like I said, it's partly due to we're living in the information age. Now we can't act like racism didn't exist, and I'm gonna explain to you how. Before, to get your credit score, it was hidden behind walls. To understand certain things, it was hidden behind walls and locked doors. We're in the information age right now, right? Where you can get on a computer, you can get on a smartphone. Everybody got a smartphone, and you can learn how to do anything. Set up your LLC, get you know what I'm saying, get your CDLs, you know what I'm saying, or grow you some THC. You know what I'm saying? Whichever one you choose, you can get this money now. And the young men understand this. It's men my age that I really had to talk to. The young men get this because they see, you know what I'm saying, like it's a whole big world out there. So I'm just gonna say that, and we can keep pushing on. But I think that's what plays into these numbers right here is because the taught victimization.
Yeah, so one of the most striking findings of the study to us was that even if you take black and white boys raised in families at exactly the same income level, even at high income levels, you see that black boys end up with very different outcomes on average relative to white men. They're less likely to complete high school, they're less likely to go to college, they have significantly lower earnings than adults.
Okay, yeah, I see. And then Stephen Page said you need driver training to get CDL. That's right, but look, you can get on YouTube and see, okay, what's the roadmap to getting CDLs? Okay, let me watch a gang of truck videos, and you're saying, so when I go to school, I'm gonna be prepared. I'm gonna be ahead of the game. So that's what I meant. And look at Nikki. She said I learned how to do lash extensions on YouTube over 10 years ago. Oh, thank you, Lavi. She said you see the same apathy with second generation children born in the U.S. Thank you for that. Because that goes to show you that it's taught. And see, they want to play it like it's biological, and this is where it's very dangerous. I want to stress this again. And if you heard 76 at the end of it, I won't spoil it for saying you if you haven't. That means that it's learned victimization, because the first generation got on whatever they got on and came here and was fearless, but the fact that their children lived up under the mental manipulation of the media, it was learned helplessness. Thank you for sharing that, Lavi. Let's continue on.
And that phenomenon, interestingly, applies really only to black men. When we look at black versus white women, you see much more similarity in their outcomes if they grow up in families of similar income. So it's something unique to what's happening to black men in America that I think is really a concern for generations going forward in terms of perpetuating inequality by race.
And that inequality, it's really striking to me. One of the things that this study reports is that African-American men who will grow up in households with two parents that are earning $140,000, they fare about the same as a white young man who is raised by a single mother making just $60,000. How can that be true? Because it feels so counterintuitive. And
okay, so I think it's a little different. Now, you might have same effect, different cause. I think what you see, you know what I'm saying, with the affluent whites is like the trustafarian kind of thing going on, where they're not driven to be better. I think the learned helplessness is the effect of the media to say, hey, you're a person of color, aka a colored person. You know, you need to cash in on that victimization. Where I think with the white people is more of, you know, dad set me up nice so I can just cruise through life. I think it's like same effect, different causes, in my opinion.
what does that mean for African-American families and their futures?
Yeah, what you're getting at really is the finding that there's a great deal of downward mobility in black families. So you would have thought intuitively, that's what we expected going in, is when you get to a certain income level, maybe racial disparities disappear, that at some point you kind of escape the poverty trap. But that really doesn't seem to be the case. Even once your parents reach a high income level, it continues to be the case that black men have higher odds of essentially ending up in the bottom of the income distribution than staying at the top of the income distribution. And that's why you get this pattern that black men's outcomes look comparable to white men growing up in relatively low or middle income families.
You mentioned in the study that there are unique obstacles that black men face.
Word of the day, I think you said it has to be more than a victim mentality. Learned helplessness is a very dangerous thing. Learn helplessness, and that's the thing. You said, were the children educated or equally educated? Right. Part of the education is, you know, you're special, as far as not in a good way special, but you know, you know what I'm saying, we're gonna, how can I put it? A good example of this is if you've seen Everybody Hate Chris, when he went off to the school that he went off to, I think it was like a gifted school with mostly white students, that his female teacher kind of like treated him like a victim, even though he wasn't a victim. So it's not the actual technical education, it's the taught the learned helplessness that comes along with it, that's fostered by these people that hearts are in a good place, but they're ill-informed. So I'll say that's kind of like if you're being spotted. Sometimes you need the weight to come all the way down on you. You're saying to push your muscles up. If somebody constantly spotting you and lifting up on the bar, you're never going to be as strong as you possibly can be. Let's get to Raul and see what he said, or she, excuse me. If I'm not sure, I'm not sure what's your name. It's Mo. Facts. I think there's also something about if you educate yourself, you ain't really black, that affects these outcomes as well. Once again, that's what I'm talking about. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's that, how dare you be self-sufficient and independent? That's what I'm leaning towards. Tari said, yeah, that shows pure victimhood. Yeah, pandering. That's another example. Kind of like, oh, black people can't get license. Like, what? To vote. You know what I'm saying? You know, black people, you know what I'm saying, you struggle to get licensed to vote. Like, I mean, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard, but I mean, it's a whole narrative. It's a whole meme. That's a good one. Helplessness leads to worthlessness. Thank you. Thank you, face to the screen.
Are we, just to be clear, are we talking about racism and racial bias, or what are those unique obstacles that black men in particular face?
Yeah, so to try to get at that, we look at how this varies across different parts of the country. So look neighborhood by neighborhood and ask, are there some neighborhoods in America where you see small black-white gaps, or perhaps black men doing better than white men? And surprisingly, you find essentially no such areas in 99% of neighborhoods.
Thank you for clarifying that for me, Raul. And Lavi, I think that's the difference, though. They want equity, not equality, right? I want people to stress that and really look into that. I thank you for bringing that up. That's the argument for it. They want the same outcome regardless of effort. No, we want equal opportunity. And that's why I think we need to rethink affirmative action. If you have the skills, you know, and the same level of skills, and then I'm speaking solely to people that were impacted, you know what I'm saying, on ADOS/FBA. That's what affirmative action is really built for. And it's, if you have the same level, there will be spots for you to compete. Not there will be spots for you to compete regardless of your skill level. No, that's pandering. That's victimization. That's feeding into victimhood. Let me say that. That feeds into victimhood, and we don't want that. As a whole, I can tell you, nobody wants to be a charity case. Nobody, and you wonder where this going with this. This feeds back into when you can't work, or you're saying, or you're out of work. Nobody wants charity. I mean, it kind of hurt my pride to file for unemployment. I mean, for real, I'm like, wow, like I gotta ask for freaking help. Like, I mean, this is my first time. I mean, be honest with you, this is my first time ever filing for unemployment. I've been working since I've been 15 years old. Actually 14, but 15 years old. That was a wild experience. Right? Thank you, Nikki. Nobody wants pity. And we gotta stamp that out. Nobody wants pity. We just want an opportunity to compete. That's it.
In America, you see better outcomes for white men than black men. Now, digging in deeper, you can ask, where do we see relatively good outcomes for black men? And there are a couple of factors that pop out from that analysis. One, you see that areas with larger rates of father presence in homes.
Hello, where my bell? Where my bell? Hold on. Wait a minute. You know why? You know why that is? Because fathers, no, I can speak only to my father. No. What? You a victim? You a victim? What? I wish I would have tell my dad I'm a victim. Bruh, no. So that's it. When you have fathers that don't allow their kids to feed into being victims, no, you have to compete. And it's like, oh yeah, you gonna compete. You're gonna compete. So that's the difference. And it took them halfway through the clip to get to what the real truth is. And like I said, I'll let them talk, but let's go back one more time, listen to it.
Obstacles that black men in particular face.
Yeah, so to try to get at that, we look at how this varies across different parts of the country. So look neighborhood by neighborhood and ask, are there some neighborhoods in America where you see small black-white gaps or perhaps black men doing better than white men? And surprisingly, you find essentially no such areas. In 99% of neighborhoods in America, you see better outcomes for white men than black men. Now, digging in deeper, you can ask, where do we see relatively good outcomes for black men? And there are a couple of factors that pop out from that analysis. One, you see that areas with larger rates of father presence in homes among black men, you have better outcomes for black boys there. So if they're...
So now notice this. That's why I laid it out like I did. Now, Soros wants the Black Lives Matter not to have daddies in the house. So then he could be your daddy. I'm going to say that one more time. Soros funded Black Lives Matter to get the daddies out the house so he can be your daddy. That's what they want because they know. Just like, okay, I think Mike said it. Mike put it so poetically. He said, LOL, if I said I was a victim, my dad would have kicked my ass around my ears. Exactly. Don't you ever, you know what I'm saying, say victim or, oh, they can stop me or that. No. They ain't gonna fly. Telling you. Oh, that's another one. Batter says, my kids were complaining about being bored today. I told her she was bored with herself and only she could change that. Now, once again, speaking on the dad topic, I would never, ever say I was bored around my dad because I understood what that meant. You made that mistake once. You say you were bored around my dad. I'm like, oh, I can find something for you to do. When he say that, you going to be cutting grass, cleaning out gutters, doing something. Hey, come on, let's go over here and do this. Let's go over and do that. Don't you ever say you bored around a dad. I'm trying to tell you. That you learn from your first and last mistake. Right there, I'm trying to tell you. Extra chores. When he was saying, I could find something for you to do. When he say that, that wasn't no cap. That wasn't no cap when he say that. Right. You know what I'm saying? You cleaning up the yard. You cleaning up the neighbor's yard. Oh, you ain't got nothing to do? Go on Miss Emarine over there. Go clean out her yard. You know what I'm saying? Hey, you ain't got nothing to do? I mean, like, even you didn't even have to say you were bored. You could just look bored. And he'll ask a question. Oh, you ain't got nothing to do? When he say that, oh, everybody get to hiding. Might know what time it is. He said, yeah, if you were bored, you clean out the barns, repairing everything. He'll find work for you to do. Nah, ain't no bored around here, but that's what dads do.
More two-parent families, particularly among African-American households, you see better outcomes for black boys. And second, you see that areas with lower levels of racial bias among whites tend to have better outcomes for black men. So those are a couple of the factors that I think could be associated with these better outcomes, but I think more remains to be understood in terms of exactly what's driving these really sharp differences.
Gotcha. And I want to talk about the differences between black women and black men. There are some critiques out there, critics of the study out there that are arguing that black women who don't have long-term incomes weren't counted in your study. Is that accurate? And could you talk a little bit about your findings of black women and the data that you used?
Yeah, so we include everyone. So the power of the study is that we're able to track, using anonymized data, about 20 million Americans from birth to adulthood, people born in the early 1980s whose incomes we're looking at in their late 30s. And that includes everyone, whether you're working or not. Every single person is counted. And so if you're not working, you're assigned an income of 0 and you're counted in the study. And what we show is that even taking that into account, black women, conditional on growing up in a family that's at the same income level as white women, they end up with very similar outcomes. They have similar levels of earnings, similar wage rates, similar college attendance rates, they work at similar rates. So it's really remarkable how for women, you don't see that much of a black-white disparity, very starkly different from men. Now, I should emphasize that doesn't mean that women are living in households with the same income levels, because black women tend to be married to men who are black, who have lower incomes, and they also are married at lower rates. And so if you look at household income, of course, you do see a significant disparity between black women and white women. But when you look at their own earnings, they look very similar.
And then I guess I have one quick.
So that means it look like the black men the problem. Ain't that amazing? The black men are the problem, but the black men are the solution at the same time. Think about that, because they said with the fathers in the house is not an issue. You're saying you see less of an issue, but black men are the ones that's bringing down the salaries. So it looks like corporations and society has incentivized not having the black man in the house. That's what it seems like to me. You know what I'm saying? Like it just seems that way. It's like, okay, we'll pay black women more than black men. And notice, I want y'all to pay attention. This is not a gender war thing. I just want y'all to listen to how they put things. Whenever they compare salaries for the all talked about gender wealth gap, it's always everybody compared to white men. Notice that. I just want, like I said, I'm not going to harp on that point, but notice that it's always these women compared to white men. So I just want to lay that out there. But I guess we could move on from that. And what I have now is more about stereotyping. We have Tina Knowles. She's going to talk about profile the black man and ending stereotypes. Let me back it up a little bit. All right, let's go.
Series by Tina Knowles Lawson highlights the impact of harmful stereotypes on black men. She is an executive producer of the series, and oh yeah, she's also the mother of two powerhouse daughters. That would be Beyonce and Solange. Profile the Black Man uses real-life stories to explore the history of stereotypes. It highlights the challenges that black men face because of them. It also shines.
See, here the reason why I play this is here's that more of that victimization. You know what I'm saying? Here it is, more of that victimization. This Black Lives Matter was a huge victimization. Let me rephrase that. Black Lives Matter Inc. was a huge victimization operation.
The light on people who are dedicating their lives to changing that narrative. The first episode dismantles the damaging idea that black men are dangerous. Tina Knowles Lawson talks about the role that the media plays on that and how black men are portrayed. So in this clip, she describes a very personal experience involving questions about her son-in-law. We all know him as Jay-Z.
I can remember getting on a plane and an older white woman saying, "Oh, your son is a gangster rapper, right? How did you let him marry your daughter?" And it was just shocking to me. And I said, "No, actually, my son is a CEO." She didn't think of him as a CEO or even a talented celebrity that, was a great businessman. And at that time, I remember thinking, I can't be mad at her because that is what the media portrays.
That is what the media portrays. Hello. Your son and daughter, your son-in-law and daughter are two of the biggest people in the media. And they love to portray themselves as this. Now, we ain't gonna do that. See, this is where we had to get control of our own media. Jay-Z rant, and look, I'm probably gonna lose some people on this one. They're gonna get really mad at me. But Jay-Z portrayed himself as the #1 crack dealer ever in history. So if you portray yourself as that way, you had to take this, the slings and arrows that go along with it. And now you even see these older rappers are coming out and standing up for the young boys that are killing themselves with this drill music. Jay-Z and we need to let them have freedom of speech. So no, Tina Knowles. No, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. Because I think your daughter was on a song called Savage. Press 1 if I'm correct. If Tina Knowles' daughter, Miss Beyonce Knowles, was on a song called Savage with one Miss Megan Thee Stallion. So we're not going to do that. And you're saying, and that feeds into the fact of us being seen as subhuman. Nah, we're not going to do that. You're saying, no, Right. He made his career pushing gangsterism, and he still raps about selling crack to this day. And he's the one that put on the halftime show that had 50-year-old men running around crip walking. Let's just keep it 100 here. So we can't act like, you know what I'm saying? No, we're not going to act like we are a total that's that high level corporate victimization mentality. See, everybody want to think about victimization mentality on the bottom, on the poverty level. No, y'all are high level, well paid billionaire victims. No, we're not gonna do that. Right, got 50-year-old men hanging upside down, gangster rapping, got us running around on football field, crumping look like, you know what I'm saying, savages. And then you wonder why, you know what I'm saying, when he got in charge of that, he had an opportunity to put on a thought out show, presentation. But that's what they decided to go with. Right. And that's white supremacists call us savages. And now we call each other savages. And see the same thing and I ain't going to get into it too deep tonight, but for the same reason how we black men are seen as violent and instill fear, black women on a high level of the media are seen as sex objects. Your daughter had her crotch in the camera a few Super Bowls ago and was treated like a high level prostitute. So no, we not gonna do this. We can't get upset when somebody else calls us monkeys if we call ourselves savages. We set the standard, see? That way when somebody calls us out our name, then we can say, hey, no, we don't even tolerate it of ourselves. See, they always let us do it to ourselves, somebody else do it. They say, oh, that's just another one. Thank you. Hot Top Venus. Thank you. Thank you, Matthew. See, if we didn't kill ourselves at such a high alarming rate, when a police officer killed us, it would be such a stark contrast. So we're not going to do that one. And then the thing a problem I had with it is Mr. Barack Obama brings the #1 crack dealer in the world to the White House. Now, let me ask you this question. How many bodies, if Jay-Z, he said everything he rapped, he did, and like I said, I'm just keeping it 100. How many dead bodies is Jay-Z responsible for all the poison he pumped in these communities, our communities, that he got rich off of? So we're not going to do that. We can't do that. And then she want to sit here with a straight face and act like because your son got called what he is, a gangster rapper, the American gangster. He came out of retirement to do that album, didn't he? American Gangster soundtrack. You want to be upset because what you want to do, you want to play it both ways. You want to, we're saying when you amongst white folks, you want to say, oh, he's a CEO. Oh, he's a CEO. But then when you with a black folk, oh, you know, he the realest one alive. He the realest one alive. Now, we're not going to play that, but let's continue on for I really go off.
Tina Knowles Lawson is the executive producer of the series and the co-founder and artistic director of the Waco Theater. She's with us first on CBS Mornings. Tina, my mouth fell open when you gave that example, because I'm thinking, and then you followed up by saying, I'm not even mad at her. How are you not mad? And it's good to see you, Tina. It's good to...
Because you can't be mad at her because she was telling the truth. You can't be mad at her because she was telling the truth. That's what she see. Now y'all see what I say. A lot of times, people only see what we present to them. Y'all running around talking about ape shit and savage. That's what y'all present to the world. No, so we're not going to do that. But then when y'all get in y'all little boule circles, y'all think somebody's supposed to treat y'all different. No, they see y'all just like they see us, the way y'all portray us. Like we savages and y'all monetize our savagery.
To see you. How are you not mad?
Long time. Just because I thought, I sat there and I thought about how the media portrays Black men and how
the media portrays. How the media portrays. See, when I say the media, no. We gonna include the boule too. See, I don't differentiate the boule from the white media because the boule is the bootlicks for the white media. Y'all get paid to go out here and find the talent and put the talent on. See, Jay-Z wasn't nothing but a glorified event planner. Now he used the Colin Kaepernick. Y'all know how I feel about Colin Kaepernick. He poor boy confused. But y'all used the Colin Kaepernick situation to get y'allself in the big house. So y'all can sit up there like y'all doing big things. And then y'all put this imagery on like, oh yeah, them 90%, oh no, those are common Negroes. Not like us, but when you get on that plane, you seem the same way, and so is your son. So live with it.
That is typical of the things that they would focus on, the negatives, and try to portray us as these dangerous, our men as dangerous, uneducated, gangster rapper. That's all she could come up with. But that's what she, that's what she had been seeing on TV and all in the media. That's how we're portrayed, unfortunately.
Yeah. So,
now, unfortunately, your son-in-law made $1 billion portraying that role. Nobody put a gun to his head. And then when he got in a position of power, he furthered the problem. He make enough money now that he ain't got to do that no more, but he still do it. Talking about still whipping the pot. 50-year-old pawpaw. Talking about whipping the pot. Man, you don't knock it off.
You're saying we can't really blame her. I have to tell you, we were only allowed to see one part of the series, and I was so bummed, Tina, because by the time I watched the first one, I wanted to watch the other three. It made me angry. It made me sad. Oddly enough, I also found it uplifting. And I'm wondering, I've heard you say that you wanted this to be a love letter to Black men. So your goal here is what exactly?
Knock it off. A love letter to Black men. When she sit up there and emasculated her husband, not Matthew Knowles, but her new husband on national television. But it's a love letter. It's a love letter to Black men. Yeah, Derek. 50 years old talking about whipping the pot still. See, people don't want to call it like it is. Then when people see us for what we present, are allowed to be presented to us because we support this bull crap with our dollars, we want to jump on their head. And rightfully so, but we got to clean up our house first. I can't get on my neighbor's house until I clean up my own house first.
Absolutely, to debunk those stereotypes that our men are dangerous. If how many times has a Black man walked into an elevator and someone clutches their purse?
Well, if I walk in an elevator and I see your daughter, I might clutch my purse and my balls too. Cause she act like a straight up lunatic. Where she get it from, Tina? Where she get it from? Nah, that's what I'm saying. These boule folk, man, they kill me because they gatekeepers. They gatekeepers. They sit here and take and sell out our bottom and use the bottom, you say the bottom of our race, instead of getting them help and teaching them something positive. They take that negativity and they monetize it. They take that money and they take it and they monetize it for their own good, and then they don't let the money flow back down. That's the problem.
Or they walk by a car and, the doors are locked. And they could be a judge. They could be, they have no idea, but because it's a black man, especially if they're of some stature.
You probably can't breathe. Look, look. Hold on, let me back this up a little bit. There's a lot going on here. Now the one brother,
and the doors are locked, and they could be a judge. They could be, they have no idea, but because it's a black man, especially if they're.
Now this brother got I can't breathe on, probably because you got that paper mask on your face. That might be why you can't breathe. But hold on, let me get back up here to Nikki. Salon don't put no fear in my heart. Nikki, you trolling. I see you. But no, you sitting up here pushing this bull crap agenda with this mask on your face. I can't breathe. And then look who they want to show about black masculinity.
Some stature.
Look at this. This who y'all, this, seriously? Seriously? Notice, but where you dress at, Billy? Why don't you have your dress on here? See, this is what I'm talking about right here. This is what I'm talking about right here. Because the same way they push the agenda as a scary black man, they also put it as the butt broken, bend over black man as well. And they all got a role to play. So we're saying when my son go out in this world, people that don't know nobody, people that don't know no black people, they think they can put them in one of these butt broken or savage buckets. No, we can't do that.
That they're dangerous. And so if we can kind of get people to understand that that's not so, and to show them examples of otherwise, that we do have good fathers and we are good providers. And
I think your son-in-law, correct me if I'm wrong, your son-in-law campaigned with Miss Super Predator. The same one that created the laws, and I'm sure he campaigned and donated to the other writer of the crime bill. You feel what I'm saying? So your son-in-law got on the stage with the super predator, which he was a super predator at the time when she called him a super predator, and campaigned for her. But then on top of that, you go and campaign for Mr. Crime Bill Joe. And then you want to get up here and like you offended. Knock it off.
yes. Love our men love their own women as well. It's just all the negative stereotype, and it's just perpetuated over and over, no matter what.
Yeah.
It's just what everybody thinks.
And the other thing I liked about.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Gail.
No, the other thing I liked about it is you gave example after example to illustrate the point of the disparities that exist for black men. And one thing that I found.
Hold on, ain't Gail the same one that tried to drag Kobe's name through the mud while his body was still warm as a sexual predator? Ain't that the same Gail? Ain't that the same Roger from American? What's the show American with Alien? This big old head broad over here. Ain't she the same one that tried to drag Kobe Bryant through the mud? And you want to talk about black male stereotypes? Y'all see what's going on here? Everybody, look, see, it's like Mario Brothers. American Dad, thank you. That's Roger from American Dad right there with a wig on. That big head broad. You know what I'm saying? But what I'm saying is this. It's like Mario Brothers. Before we can even get to King Cooper white supremacy, we gotta stomp out all these Goombas on the way. We gotta crush these Goombas on the way. These bootleg Goombas. And then we can get to Cooper. Cooper's sitting back in the castle. He ain't got to worry about it because, you know what I'm saying, you got turtles and Goombas and all kind of stuff coming at us. And we got to get them up out of here so we can get on to Mr. White Supremacy King Cooper.
Really striking, you had a black man and a white man who have the same build, weighed the same, had the same body build, but yet when the audience was asked, when the survey was asked, people automatically said that the black man was more muscular, and looked more dangerous, which I found fascinating when you have two side by side looking the same way other than the color of their skin. What do we do to change that way of thinking?
How about you stop feeding the media with example after example after example of negativity of black men through the music and the media? She kind of looked like Kamala right there. I'll stop. But you have to stop feeding the media with example after example after example after example of negativity. You had to stop it. That's how you stop it. Because these young boys going to see, and see, it's the record companies is the problem. Let me just get on the drill rap for a minute. Because they hold this bag of money up. See, they hold this bag of money up and say, if you do enough killing and enough, you know what I'm saying, nastiness, then you can get to the bag of money. That's how it works. And then the tech companies amplify it. They amplify the negativity. And so the young black boys say, well, you know what? I'm already passively suicidal. I don't love myself and nobody don't love me. And I'm not giving them no passes. I'm just stating what it is. They're passively suicidal. So it don't matter if I live or die anyway. So I'll play this murder game. I'll play this death game. And the whole time, these big companies are feeding off of them in a death cult. But I digress.
Well, I think, when Trell Thomas is the guy who actually talked about these problems and wanted to do something so badly to debunk these stereotypes. And I was like, if you don't see it, create it. And we'll get together and we'll work on this and make it a great thing. What I said to the producers is that I know that if we put this series on BET or one of the black stations, that we already know.
What black station? How BET a black station? It's a black facing station. It ain't ran by black people. It ain't owned by black people.
That our men are not dangerous and that they are good fathers and all of these things. Mm-hmm. Who needs to see it are the people that are at home, the white people who don't understand that is so. And they have been fed a lot of nonsense through the media and all of these horrible stereotypes. So I applaud the network for putting that on the Discovery Channel. That's amazing. It's bold.
Yeah, I think so too.
Because I hope that many, many people will see this and they will say, wow, maybe I'll give people a chance before I judge them because of the color of their skin.
Yep.
Right, exactly. You know what? Exactly. Thank you, Nikki. I wasn't going to say it, but you said it, so I'll read it. She said, actually, I think Tina is lying that a white woman asked her that question. This is just a promo for some upcoming show. That's all it is. Because, a white woman going to ask her one question. Aren't you Beyonce's mother? Slay Queen? Slay, she ain't gonna take no time out to say, oh, isn't your son a gangster rapper? Man, come knock it off. Knock it off. No, that's bull crap. I ain't buying it.
Yeah, but I have to say, and I'm not just saying this, Tina, because you're sitting here in front of me, but it's so well done. I think it's must-see TV. I know Tony in the studio. Do you have a question for Tina?
Yeah, Gail, thank you very much. Tina, thank you very much for being here. My question is a quick one. It took us hundreds of years to get to this problematic point. How soon, how quickly do you think we can get past it?
They go to 400-year trope. You know what I'm saying? The white dude had to come. 400 years? How we get past it? I'll tell you how you get past it. It's called atonement, a.k.a. reparations. Let's talk about it.
Oh, my God. Sometimes I have a lot of hope, and then I turn on the news that day, and my hope is kind of shattered. So I pray that it's going to happen soon.
How you mean the same news that you say present images of black men as being the problem and fearful? You trust that same news, Tina? Is that the same news you talking about? Is that the same news? The same news you said we shouldn't trust, now you trust it. Oh, I got it. Got you. Thanks.
I pray that everybody will open their minds and open their hearts, and, everyone will try to get together and see each other as people and not see by the color of their skin. But I don't know. I'm not.
What she say? Hold on. She said, whoa. What she say? She ain't dropped the Martin Luther King line on, did she?
Everybody will open their minds and open their hearts, and, everyone will try to get together and see each other as people and not see by the color of their skin. But I don't know. I'm not as optimistic as I was yesterday.
Yeah, I know. Tina, I understand that. I just want to say before you go, 10 years ago, you told me that your oldest daughter, your favorite oldest daughter, said she works harder than anybody you know. Anybody you know, and I've never forgotten that about how hard Beyonce works. She's been nominated for an Oscar. What was the reaction in the family as we go to break? What was the reaction?
My reaction is that I thought she should have got one many times before, so I'm not.
Where? For what acting role? You need an Oscar for saying she should have got an Oscar, so you doing some great acting. Because I ain't never seen no performance by Beyonce that deserved an Oscar. Knock it off.
It's nice.
Yes, Tina. We agree. Thank you, Tina Knowles.
And you see how that ended? Well, we got the one out here. Let's just break that down right quick. But y'all see how it ended? Oh, some Beyonce praise. Now, it was supposed to be about black men. Why she ask her a question about Jay-Z? But y'all see, you know what I'm saying? Like this is what it's all about. This is all black men were for 2020, 2019, 2020 was cannon fodder. Was cannon fodder for the Democratic Party and the liberal agenda. That's it. But moving on, let's go ahead and get into, you know what I'm saying? I'm sorry for the rant, y'all. I apologize. Let's get into the angry young man trope. Oh, did I do that again? Hold on. Did it again.
Age what it is to be angry, helpless.
Angry young men don't have the best reputation these days.
What we know is that the preponderance.
Hey, I told y'all it start with us. It ain't gonna end with us though. It start with us. That same angry man, it's done bled over. Pay attention.
Of hate crimes are perpetrated by men.
When we think of the phrase, we think of male violence, masculinity in crisis.
You talking to me?
A generation of men unable or unwilling to be emotionally mature.
Fellow angry white American guys, give it up. We've been running the show for 10,000 years.
Yet, if we look back, the angry young man trope on screen originated as something very different. This character came onto the scene in the so-called kitchen sink dramas of the 50s and 60s British New Wave as a working-class anti-hero who challenged the established orders of society.
It's possible to take people of all classes seriously, their opinions seriously, their intelligence seriously, their wit seriously.
Outside of Britain, the character also took off as an agent of disruptive political protest. Over the years, angry young men of color on screen also increasingly...
Right, thank you, Terry. Yeah, it's the after patriarchy rhetoric, right? And that's let's go back and just hear that one more time. It's like he ready to transition any day into Roseanne Barr, and we're saying like, knock it off, like for real. Like what kind of self-loathing man would even say that? We've had it for a long time, but see, they say that out of. See, it's a weird. Let me just say this: some white liberals, they get off on racism and pandering in a way like what is it called? Like sadomasochists, BDSM. They love to tell you how bad white people are so they can get off on it. And it's like a cleanse. It's the same way like powerful men go to, dominatrix and let a woman beat them. And so, they get off on that. Some, not a lot, but some, I don't have the number, I know, but it's some white liberals get off on that. To say, tell me more, tell me how bad I am. And they like, right. Self-flagellation, thank you. That's exactly what it is. And what happens is, they feed in, like black people feed into this. They feed into this. Oh, let me tell the white man how bad he is, thinking that they getting something off their chest. But no, you're doing exactly what they want to do, because when that powerful man leaves the dominatrix, whatever you call it, studio or whatever you call it, he goes back into his power again. The same way when them white people, white liberals leave their, confines of being racially shamed, they go right back into their power structure. So please stop doing that. It's embarrassing. Right. Cleanse me. Right. It's like, oh, tell me how bad and it was something called, it was a dinner they had. I forgot what the name of the dinner was. Y'all tell me in the live chat if y'all remember what it was called. But it was a dinner that rich white liberals would have, and they would invite black people to the dinner. Oh, it's called Race to the Table. Y'all look this up. It's called Race to the Table. They would pay like thousands of dollars to come to these dinners, to have black people come to the dinners and degrade them. So what I'm saying is not make-believe or made up. They will pay black people to come to these dinners and degrade them. And you're right. Exactly. And then they would, and then they would get off on it, basically. Like, oh, thank you for relieving me of my stress and my pressure. Now I can go back into my, my position of power and not feel guilty about it. But watch this.
Generation of men unable or unwilling to be emotionally mature.
Fellow angry white American guys, give it up. We've been running.
No, you give yours up first. You find a black person and all the money you've made, you put it in their bank account. You start first. Give it up. You give yours up. Mr. Hogjaws, you do it.
The show for 10,000 years.
Yet, if we look back, the angry young man trope on screen originated as something very different. This character came onto the scene in the so-called kitchen sink dramas of the 50s and 60s British New Wave as a working-class anti-hero who challenged the established orders of society.
It's possible to take people of all classes seriously, their opinions seriously, their intelligence seriously, their wit seriously.
Outside of Britain, the character also took off as an agent of disruptive political protest. Over the years, angry young men of color on screen also increasingly vented their even more justified rage against systemic oppression.
And we talked about this on the show before. Remember, it was called rioting in the theaters. They use these movies of angry black men or angry black people as a release valve so they won't actually go out into the streets and riot. It's a control mechanism. We talked about it, you know what I'm saying, with the black exploitation films in the 1970s. They realized if black people could go in to theaters and watch, you know what I'm saying, this behavior, they'd be less likely to do it.
Why you need to see my ID? Son, I said ID. I'm not your son.
Yet these characters' anger frequently hasn't been viewed with the same legitimacy or acceptance.
Did you know it was an incendiary film when you were making it? Did you know that it had a kind of explosive kind of...
I really would not use the word incendiary.
Recently, the angry white man on screen has evolved into something closer to a villain. As seen in 2019's Joker,
What do you get? I don't think so. When you cross a mentally ill loner with a society that abandons him and treats him like trash!
and Star Wars' Kylo Ren. But the immense popularity of both these characters and their films proved that this trope still attracts a lot of attention and identification, as well as controversy in our culture.
Same thing they're doing now. They realize they can let white people go see movies like The Joker, you know what I'm saying, and vicariously live through a character like that. Also programming them for the time comes, but now it's not the time, you know what I'm saying, and they can, you know what I'm saying, release the pressure valve.
What the film certainly does is takes the temperature of a particular moment where people, it seems to me at least, feel dissatisfied, oppressed and split.
So, looking over the decades, who are the angry young men we listen to, and who are the ones we challenge? Is all anger equally valid or equally heard?
The world took everything away from me. Everything I ever loved.
Here's our take on the angry young men, and increasingly women, past and future.
So we're going to get into Clockwork Orange here next. But Ryu, I don't even know who Kylo Ren is. Forgive me. I'm sorry. I'm not a big Hollywood I don't know actresses and actors like that. I know them when they get into, you know what I'm saying, talking politics and things like that. But I'm not a big movie watcher like that. So apologies. But so we're going to get into Clockwork Orange now. And what we're going to do is we're going to juxtapose angry characters from movies by race. We're going to look at white ones, we're going to look at black ones and see how they're similarly portrayed and how they're differently portrayed. You said it's the Darth Vader guy from the new Star Wars trilogy. But I don't know. I haven't seen any of the new Star Wars movies. I apologize once again. So let's go ahead and get into, and this right here is weird because I use this clip purposely. What's up, TC? I use this clip purposely because it was so stereotypical of the black male they used to play out the role. But at the same time, he's going to talk about he's going to break down the movie Clockwork Orange you know what I'm saying, in a couple of minutes for us. If you haven't seen it, it's a good movie by Stanley Kubrick. Let's see. I can go ahead and go. But before we do that, and please, y'all remind me from now, I'll be having the links to these articles. Y'all remind me when I show a slide to drop the link. Cause I go through the trouble of collecting the links for y'all, but I never add them to the live chat. So, I need to work on that. But anytime I show a slide and it's got an article in it, y'all let me know. And I'll start adding the articles. But this is from TV Tropes. And it says angry black man is actually a trope. It says a stock character and stereotype popular in the 1970s and 80s and male black youth. The angry black man knows that the man is out to get him, and that is the revolution will be soon come, and Whitey will have his way. Will have his back against the wall. The angry black man sees injustice everywhere and is capable of, is capable and intelligent, but usually financially destitute because the damn, I hate to say his word, honkies won't hire him to give him an opportunity. This is not my words. This is from TV Tropes. Liberal whites will attempt to befriend him, but he will have none of it. Seeing even being friends with white people as betrayal to his race without realizing the hypocrisy of his logic. It says compare Malcolm Xerox. Also scary. I don't know what this is. All right, so we're just going to go through this. So what I want to do now is go through some of these angry black men. Angry black man, Mr. T. Always, yeah, I got mush mouth for a second, man. Daggone water. I need some water. Let me take a water break. Ugh. I was going too ham for a minute. I don't want no H word pass. No, you know what I'm saying, no pass, cause I don't give them, so I don't receive them. But we got Mr. T, angry black man. I pity the fool. I pity the fool. Yeah, BA. I mean, but he played angry his whole career. I mean, like every movie where he was BA or I forgot the one he played in Rocky 3. You know what I'm saying? He always played he played angry. But yeah, I love Mr. T too. And just a little inside baseball on more facts. When I was a kid, every time I go get a haircut, I had the barber cut me a Mr. T mohawk before he cut my hair off. You know what I'm saying? Cause my dad wasn't going for, you know what I'm saying, no Mr. T, Clubber Lane, thank you. My dad wasn't going for no mohawk, but you know what I'm saying, like the barber would go ahead and give me like a mohawk for about 5 seconds. You know what I'm saying? And I'd be like, I pity the fool in the mirror. You know what I'm saying? Like I was about 4 or 5, you know what I'm saying? But then he go ahead and cut it all off. You know what I'm saying? That's a little Mo Facts inside baseball. But then we also got Samuel Jackson. Another angry black man, which also always played angry. You know what I'm saying? Always. Then we have Killmonger. He's the most recent one, which I'm going to have to do a breakdown of Black Panther. I've been saying that, but y'all notice how, see, they didn't want a African-American, quote unquote, you know what I'm saying, foundational black to be, you know what I'm saying, the king of Wakanda. They weren't going for that, so they even sided with the Wakandans even sided with the daggone, with the CIA to take Killmonger out. That's crazy. And then, of course, Mr. Tupac Shakur is another one. Angry black man trope. But before we get even deeper into that, yeah, Wakanda has major issues. You know what I'm saying? Because Killmonger won fair and square. They had, you know what I'm saying, they had to bring, you know what I'm saying, God rest the dead, you know what I'm saying, but they had to bring the Black Panther back and not fight by the original rules. Yeah, because he won. Fair is fair. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. He gave on the Black Panther that business. But let's see. Let's go ahead and get into the breakdown of Clockwork Orange. It's a good movie. Stanley Kubrick. I think, let's see. Let me see. I think I got a slide here for it. What slide is that? Slide 16. All right, here we go. And make sure I get y'all the link. The movie was created, I think, in 1960s. One of his most famous movies. And it was, yeah. So let's go ahead and get in the breakdown. And we're going to get it broken down by one of the most stereotypical characters I've ever seen in my life. And here we go. Thug Notes.
What's up, Droogie? This week we getting a taste of the old ultra violent with The Clockwork Orange by Anthony Burgess. England sure as hell seen better days. Cause up in this crooked ass future, the government got everybody by the nuts and young thugs ruling the streets doing violent deeds on the rig. And there ain't no gang rolling rougher than Alex and his droogies Dim, Georgie, and Pete. One night after sipping some of that crunk stuff at the Corova Milk Bar, Alex and his boys hit the streets to get their fix of sweet violence. After whipping up some strangers, looting a store, and
this is who is this by? Hold on, let me look it up right quick. This is Clockwork Orange, Thug Note Summary and Analysis. It's on YouTube. You can find it. It's a Clockwork Orange Thug Notes Summary and Analysis. It's on YouTube. Oh, Wisecrack. Thank you, Raul. Thank you. Yeah, Thug Notes. It's very stereotypical, but it's yeah. But let's continue on.
Boost in the car, Alex and the crew swing through the boonies when they stop at a cottage, mask up, bust in, brutalize the husband, and rape his woman while he watched. Damn, B, that's some up shit right here. Later, them droogies start flexing like they be questioning Alex's authority. But when Alex whips out his shank, he puts them bitches back in their place. Cold-blooded. That night, they decide to step up their game by robbing some rich old hag's crib. Alex sneak in and knock that bitch out, but not before the 5-0 be closing in. Just as Alex about to bail, Dim pops Alex in his grill, leaving him to get got by the fuzz. Now, 15-year-old Alex got his ass tossed in the clink. Damn. After Alex smacks up one of his cellmates real good, he gets picked to be a lab rat for some shit called the Ludovico technique. Basically, a bunch of government scientists pump his ass with drugs, make him
some MK Ultra programming that was done in prison, and we see that MK Ultra was actually done in prisons in the U.S. and abroad.
Watch videos of real messed up shit and condition him to get sick as a dog whenever he think of something violent or sexual. Thing is, these videos sometimes bump in classical music, which be the only thing that mean a damn thing to him. Now he can't listen to his jam without losing his yarbles. Since he rehabilitated, Alex gets released to the outside. While Alex lurking around the streets, he keeps getting his ass kicked by people who recognize him from his gangbanging days. Just when shit's getting rough, the law breaks up the scuffle. But turns out, one of these badge-waving crackers is Dim. The hell? After getting straight fucked up by some back then.
And let me stop right here. Ain't it amazing how, you know what I'm saying, like, this is another thing I noticed. This is them allowing black people to use racial terms on white shows. They give them the pass to do it. But we know certain communities you can't do that with. I'm just going to leave it at that.
Hustlers, Alex stumbles to a cottage begging for help. Turns out, Alex now chilling with the same brother whose ass he beat and whose wife he raped. Luckily, he don't recognize Alex at first. Instead, he just want to use Alex as a poster boy for his posse of anti-government blowhards. But just like the government, they just gonna put the hurt on Alex for their own ends. So they lock him up in a room, start banging some classical music, and Alex try to snuff it. But since that was a little bitch fall, Alex ends up alright. Actually, he better than alright. He been cured of the Ludovico technique. After a while, Alex gets to thinking, realize how empty his life be, and decide he gonna stop thugging ultraviolet and makes himself a one-lady man. Man, this ending sucks. Go watch the movie. Now your bitch ass might be thinking,
all right, so let's move on from this and actually look at the Ludovico technique. And this is some straight MK Ultra. And we know Stanley Kubrick was always dropping Illuminati-ish imagery in his movies. So I found that very interesting because he did it with what's it called? Eyes Wide Shut and several other movies he did. Very, very, very interesting movie. It was disturbing. I'm not gonna say that, but very, very interesting, but disturbing. But let's go ahead and look at the techniques they used in that movie. Fair use, fair use, fair use.
Good.
It was horrible.
Of course it was horrible. Violence is a very horrible thing. That's what you're learning now. Your body's learning it.
I just don't understand about feeling sick the way I did. I never used to feel sick before. I used to feel like the very opposite. I mean, doing it or watching it, I used to feel real.
Hold on, y'all want to go back? Y'all want to go back here to analysis? I'll bring it back. I want to get to the. I got like an hour left, and I got a few more things to get to. But let's just get to some of the techniques they use in this movie, and I'll play the rest of it.
You felt ill this afternoon because you're getting better. You see, when we're healthy, we respond to the presence of the hateful with fear and nausea. You're becoming healthy, that's all. By this time tomorrow, you'll be healthier still.
And what this remind me of, I don't know if y'all remember the movie. Yeah, he had friends in high places. If y'all remember the movie Drop Zone, this kind of reminded me of Drop Zone as well, for people that don't know. Well, not the whole movie, this scene. Y'all remember this from Drop Zone? Y'all remember this scene? And it's kind of like it was I think it was, what other movie was it, this imagery was reminded of? Drop Zone was the movie where they would have where if you started acting white, too white, they would come. It was a Spike Lee movie. They would come and kidnap you and put you in that black training. And you're saying they would like basically make you look at the TV screen, have Ving Rhames and a few other people in it. And they would kind of kidnap you and bring you back to being black. This kind of gave me that imagery right here. But y'all can see that. You can see what's going on here. But I just want to illustrate what was going on in this movie. The kind of mind control that was going on. Now let's go back to analysis because I don't want to make it. Did I say Drop Zone? Excuse me, Drop Squad. Duh. My fault. Thank you. Drop Squad. Drop Zone was the movie with Wesley Snipes where he was jumping out of airplanes, right? I'm like, Hollywood trivia. Bruh, I will use all my lifelines like in the first 4 questions. But let's go ahead and get back to the breakdown since people wanted to hear it.
Oh, Alex ends up all right. Actually, he better than all right. He been cured of the Ludovico technique. After a while, Alex gets to thinking, realize how empty his life be, and decide he gonna stop thugging ultraviolet and makes himself a one-lady man. Man, this ending sucks. Go watch the movie. Now your bitch ass might be thinking, the hell this got to do with oranges? Well, peep this, sucker. The book's title spitting game about trying to take something organic, like an orange, and trying to make it work like a machine, which is exactly what everybody trying to do to Alex, not just the scientists. And if Alex can't choose between good and evil, then he ain't a human being. He's just a clockwork orange. Matter of fact, Alex's name got a built-in f*** you to all those people telling him how he gotta roll. The name Alexander means defender of man. And in Alex's case, he's fighting for humanity's right to choose, even if they choosing to do some twisted things. Look, even though the state trying to do some good by using the jacked up Ludovico technique, they ain't just ridding the world of evil, they also killing the good. Like one of them government puppets say,
don't sound very familiar, and that's why I played this, right? Don't this sound very familiar, like they're trying to sanitize society? It's like I said, it's very prophetic. Very prophetic. Very prophetic. Hold on. Let's go back to the clip.
Limitation is always difficult. The world is one. Life is one. The sweetest and most heavenly of activities partake in some measure of violence. The act of love, for instance. Music, for instance. See, problem is, culture's always thinking in black and white. Something's either good or it's evil. But on the real, it's never that simple. Nothing's ever completely good or completely evil. But no matter how many damn times some ballin' artists or philosophers spit that truth, we just can't seem to understand it. Humanity gonna think they got everything all figured out, only to bone up and do it over and over again. Like clockwork, player. So start your re-education by hitting that subscribe button, partner. Very well, my literary OGs.
All right, so that was his breakdown. So this movie about 4 white friends going around England causing havoc made me think about a movie from my childhood, Juice.
Get down now. You get you a date. Oh, the storyline for Juice is getting a date, right? Oh, God. Get $7, $14, and go to the movie theater. Nah, come on. Tell the storyline. Stay in the scene. Omar.
Stay
in the scene, hey, man. Break it down for me.
The storyline is like this.
And I want y'all to pay attention to something. It was a running joke. Stay in the scene. Stay in the scene. Like there was there was basically this thought that Tupac basically stayed Bishop after this movie was over. And so it seemed like there's this running joke between them staying in the scene, because it's a longer clip. If you can go find it on YouTube. Thank you, Deep, for the spam. Yeah, so it seemed like they had to stay in the scene, and they have this running joke between them about staying in the scene. Let's continue.
Nah,
come on.
Tell the story, man. Stay in the scene.
Omar.
Stay in the scene, hey, man. Break it down for me.
The storyline is like this. 4 young black males, tight like glue. Now we want to see what happens when these 4 black males try to grow up and we all go in different directions. That's exactly what the storyline is. It deals with a lot of fear, peer pressure. It deals with a lot of young black males being trapped in today's society and the kind of reactionary things that we do to get out of it. Word up.
We get put in situations that we really don't know how to make an intelligent decision about. So from what we know, from us growing up on the streets of Harlem, that's how we make our decisions on what it is we're gonna do out here in the streets.
Word up, big brother. Especially to get
just
juice.
because
Big brother.
Just because we grew up on the streets doesn't necessarily make us intelligent or knowledgeable. It just means that we have decisions that we gotta make out there, and we make the decisions, and the film illustrates what happens from the decisions that we make. And these are decisions that all young brothers out in the street today are making.
Like
so everybody's gonna be able to deal with this.
And this movie was very pivotal for black media. Black movies. Because it was like this came, and then Boys in the Hood came, and Menace to Society came. It was very, like I said, it was like the tipping point. I think New Jack City was before this, if I'm not sure, but this was more of the, New Jack City was like a grand scale mafioso kind of thing. This was like the neighborhood violence kind of motif that was kind of ran through all the movies after this. So let's let them wrap up with their interview.
It's like you get a camera and you go through a neighborhood and just start filming. That's just how real it is.
Because all black people, our dads ain't doctors and lawyers.
Right now,
that.
This film is gonna tell a real street story. Because Joey's not gonna clean up his act and run off to Cornell at the.
That's my point right there. The real street story, right? Bishop equals Little Yummy, right? He was the Little Yummy in the cinema. Was Boys in the Hood first? Okay. It was saying, but I'm just saying it was that. It was going from more mafioso kind of stuff from, New Jack City to kind of like the Little Yummy super predator. Anybody could be a killer kind of thing. That fed that super predator narrative.
No.
That's true. For real.
Dad can't help us out of this.
And so what I was talking about before about angry and these boys are suicidal out here, this is what I'm talking about, passively suicidal. This is one of the most famous scenes for this movie with Tupac and Omar Epps.
What's up?
Fair use.
I ain't seen in a couple days. What's been happening? Man, get off that shit. It's over. It ain't nothing nobody can do about it now. What do you want from me, man?
And just for a little fact, let me back that up a little bit. Like the Tech 9 is like what the Draco and the Chopper is now, back then. I just want to say that. Let's continue on.
Nobody can do about it now. What do you
Fair
want
use.
from me, man? Nothing. Just came to see if you was all right. See how you been doing.
Well, I ain't talked to nobody,
I know. Cool. Always will be. I just came to see what's up.
Let me tell you something, B. I'm only playing your fucking game because ain't shit else to do. But don't you ever pull a gun on me again in your life.
Well, I hope I won't have to.
Yeah, we all go down if you do, because we all crew. Just try me if you think I'm bullshit.
And this is where you could tell he wasn't right. In this scene, fair use, fair use.
Look at this. The brother finally decides to stand up like a man and throw down. Too bad Raheem had to die first, huh? It's over. Everything starts from now. We all go down unless we stay together. Ain't no one man above the crew. You know that shit.
Crazy, man.
You know what? When you said that last time, I was kind of tripping, right? But now, you're right. I am crazy. But you know what else? I don't give a fuck.
The most deadliest words uttered by any person. Right. And I'm going to get to Carlton Way 1. He said all these hood movies came out in the early 90s. So Biden came out with the 94 crime bill. It was part of the plan. Right. This was that little yummy crime bill. You know what I'm saying? Made every black kid, every young black man seem like he's crazy. And you see how it was treated. It's some reason black media is seen differently than white media. Like, it's real. Like, I mean, like, I don't know if it's how we watch it, how we interpret it, how we internalize it, but we make it almost real. It's a weird phenomenon. But, you know what I'm saying, that I don't give a F, that was like Tupac's mantra after this movie. It's wild. It's wild. But let's go ahead and let him finish the scene. Let me back it up a little bit so we can get his last words in context.
Right.
Fair use.
But now, you're right. I am crazy. But you know what else? I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck about you. I don't give a fuck about Steele. And I don't give a fuck about Raheem either. I don't give a fuck about myself. Look, I ain't shit. I ain't never gonna be shit. And you less of a man than me, so as soon as I decide that you ain't gonna be shit, pow, so be it. You remember that, motherfucker.
And that's what I'm talking about right there. Passively suicidal. When you walk around and you like, you know what? It's kind of like that suicide by cop. They don't want to do it themselves. So it's like, I'll destroy things until somebody destroys me. And that, like I said, that's when anger becomes rage. And then rage becomes mental health issues. So let's go to Carlton Way 1 again. He said when Biden was writing that crime bill, he showed the CBC, Congressional Black Congress, that juice clip, and they voted yes on the crime bill. Is that true, Carlton Way 1? You got to drop me a link or something to that one. If it is, that's a hell of a factoid. Wow. I mean, I hope it's true, but you know what I'm saying, I'm gonna need a link on that one. And Tyree said, this is black folks' favorite type of movie. Right. Yep. Passively suicidal. That's I'm gonna start harping on that a little bit because this is what's driving the drill rap and that whole thing, you know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna be, you know what I'm saying, on top of that, because shouts out to the brother AO. He's pushing that no negativity November. And you know what I'm saying? We really got to get this under control. I covered it in the episode Shootist. But you know what I'm saying? I digress again, but let's go and look at the possible mental illness of Bishop.
Antisocial personality disorder. That's the condition in which a person consistently shows no regard for right or wrong. They manipulate and treat others harshly and with callous indifference. They don't care, and they show no guilt or remorse for their behavior. This is community activate mental cinemas.
All right, so before we get started in this, Matthew says, have you ever felt that way? I have. And what that brings when he asked that question, you remember Cain in Men's Society when his grandfather said, do you care if you live or die, boy? And he's like, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? That's another example of passive suicidal.
Welcome. In this series, we're going to attempt to match fictional characters with very real mental conditions. The mission is not to trivialize those inflicted, but to bring a level of awareness, understanding, and compassion. In this throwback episode, we're going to look at Roland Bishop, aka Bishop, from the '92 movie Juice.
Lord, I came at the perfect time. Pop 2 quarters in Pop-Tart and let's get it on. Let me get in that.
Here's 5 signs Bishop had antisocial personality disorder. He had a complete lack of empathy for others.
You're right. I am crazy. But you know what else? I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck about you. I don't give a fuck about Steele. And I don't give a fuck about Raheem either.
Well, I don't think he gave a running around with a revolver, leaving bodies in his wake, popping at friends, foes. He popped a deli man, jumping from rooftop to rooftop, telling the cops to suck him off. And he's always found a way to justify his actions.
And that's a good point right there. And that's what I'm talking about. Pocking above the rim was the same guy. Right. It's like he never came out of being Bishop. He went into that role of Bishop, and that's why I was saying, they were saying, stay in the scene, stay in role. I don't know what that meant. I mean, when I heard, I was like, wow, did he actually stay in role? You know what I'm saying? Because he never came out of, look, I was a Tupac fan from back when he was in, what was the movie with Chevy Chase? I'm talking about back then with Digital Underground. Yeah, so he was the same guy. And then he did this pivot once he went to jail and came out. He did another pivot and began to play another role on some Clockwork Orange type, you know what I'm saying, mind control. Because when he came out of prison, he was a total different person. That's when he made All Eyes on Me and was talking about killing and talking about killing and selling dope and everything. That went totally against what Tupac was on before he went to jail. Right, nothing but trouble. So let's continue.
Textbook antisocial behavior. He used charm to manipulate others.
Raheem was like my brother. I mean, he was more than a brother. I mean, we did everything together, just kicking it every day. If there's anything I can do, just let me know.
Okay, this scene was crazy. It made sense to show up at the funeral to kind of throw the cops off your scent so that you look innocent. But he went way over the top with this performance, as if he really was enjoying it. And he's looking at Q like, look at me. And Q's looking at him like he wet the bed or something. He was impulsive.
And what I'm saying is all this can even go to his real life. That's why I'm playing this. Like, it's like, and the reason why I'm doing it, let's go back again to the slide. Let's go back to the slide one more time and look at anger. And you're probably like, wait, where you going with this? If I dealt with this as a fully mature grown man and dealing with deceiving anger, and I have opportunities, how is it that, you know what I'm saying, he could, you know what I'm saying, people could, how do young men deal with this? That's my point of doing this. Right. And you said he's troll spirit, or AKA the Loki spirit. You know what I'm saying? Loki, for those who don't know, the Loki spirit. But look, it says stress, it can cause mental illness. Right? Let's go to the other slide. I think it was in the other one. We was talking about what if you don't deal with stress. Yeah, so basically, you know what I'm saying, if you don't deal with stress, it can end up into rage, and then rage becomes mental illness. Or maybe he was saying, like I said, so maybe he was nudged into being this way. But let's continue on.
Blizzard is in there right now, sticking the place up.
Word right now?
Right
He
now.
let you out?
Nigga asked me if I wanted a piece of the action. And you said no? Oh yeah, I said no.
What is you crazy? Yo, I don't think so. Let me
Okay, here's an example of Bishop's impulsiveness. He didn't know what was going on. He didn't have a gun. He didn't have a plan. He was just ready to run up in there. No questions asked. And a lot of times it seemed like it wasn't about the money. It seemed like he just got a rush out of doing things like this.
And that's a good point, Carlton Way One. And I see it as you see it. We're reliving the early 90s all over again. And you know my hypothesis is, and I hope I'm wrong, I pray I'm wrong, the crime bill 2.0 is on its way, but they had to let this happen. They had to seed young black men with these negative images that were already angry, already full of, saying, on the edge of rage, fill them up with these negative images of okay and killing each other, because they had the angry black man. Y'all remember it said in the 70s and 80s, that trope, but now they had to turn it inward. And that's what they did. Now Death Row Records is back. Crime is on an all-time high. And so be it. This is what you have here.
He was involved in criminal behavior.
All right, let's go. Let's go.
You see, this is a combination of a bunch of symptoms that we spoke about earlier. The lack of empathy, the impulsiveness, the criminal behavior. They went in there to rob this place, but Bishop wanted all along to shoot this guy. He just got a rush out of it. And then afterwards, of course, he justified it.
And if you old enough, let me go back up a little bit. If you old enough, I don't know if you can see these masks or not. It's kind of hard to see. But those masks he had on, those start to pop up everywhere. Like those black and orange masks. So it's amazing how, like, every time something would come off the movies, would go right into the stores.
He just got a rush out of it. And then afterwards, of course, he justified it. He was hostile and highly irritable.
Man, what's your problem? You fucking problem. People sweat us on the street and you don't even give a...
I think you're exaggerating.
That's bullshit, man.
People with this condition can be charming, witty, and a lot of fun to be around if you look at Bishop in the first couple of scenes, but they also can snap. In the second half of the movie, he kind of lost it on everybody. So this is the dark side that you're seeing, and the dark side can get really dark.
And now that people are saying like it's 2.0 and history repeating itself, is NBA YoungBoy the Tupac of this era? I'm going to ask that question again. Is NBA YoungBoy the Tupac of this era? And I know older people will be like, nah, man, ain't nobody going to be like Pop. But you had to understand the influence that he has on these, you know what I'm saying, these young kids. NBA YoungBoy has a very huge influence. And I would say it's not equivalent, but it's very Pac-ish. Very Pac-ish.
The cause of this disorder can be the result of an unstable family life.
Take it easy, Pop.
So in the very beginning, they show Steel, Raheem, and GQ They show their parents coming in, waking them up, getting them ready for school, encouraging them, telling them to come back home early on time. And then you look at Bishop, his father seems to have some type of mental disorder, and there's no mention of his mom.
And once again, they said crack. It was crack then. It's fentanyl now. Fetty now. It's so many It's crazy. It's crazy. And somebody just said it was not. I missed it. Oh yeah, Shapeshifter said not just young people. He definitely has that pot energy about him.
The complications of antisocial personality disorder includes low economic status, depression, homicidal behavior, and early death. So, was Bishop a thug putting in work to make a name for himself in the streets, or a young man with an undiagnosed mental condition that spiraled out of control due to his environment and neglect? Maybe both. Let me know in the comments below. Diagnosed Bishop. If you enjoyed this video, click like and subscribe for more like it. Thanks for watching.
All right, so Tyree says, my brother is 13 and all he bumps is NBA YoungBoy. A lot of teenagers are influenced by him and his crazy behavior. Hell, there's even kids that are starting to look like NBA YoungBoy. Yeah. Yeah, that NBA YoungBoy, I'm saying, and you know what? It's amazing because my daughter can attest to this. I noticed, like I'm saying, I said this boy gonna be a big star. You know what I'm saying? I used to be on all the mixtape websites like Dat Piff, you know what I'm saying, and what was it, Mixtape Live and all of those. And it was like the push he had was crazy on those mixtapes. He always had, you know what I'm saying, the top spots. It was him and Chance the Rapper. And y'all remember Chance the Rapper first album was called Acid Rap. Acid Rap, MK Ultra. You know what I'm saying? Like, people got to understand, these things don't happen just off of, you know what I'm saying, happenstance. So, I mean, I'm just saying, it's just wild, like, you know what I'm saying, how all this happened. But let's go ahead and get, you know what I'm saying, into the last clip, because just because you're angry doesn't mean you have to be angry. You have to stay angry. And this is, I always like to leave y'all on a positive note. And this is how I broke out of my anger. I had to do some self, you know what I'm saying, assessment, you know, go back and look and see, hey, you know, what's really going on? You're not yourself, that kind of thing. And this was, you know what I'm saying, this in the Bible, of course, but what I'll say, just on the productivity side and accepting what the circumstances was the 7 habits. And let me go ahead and break it down and look. Let me see. Let me put the 7 habits on the screen for y'all. And like y'all know, I always talk about the 7 habits. Be proactive. And if you notice, they broken down. If you can't see on the screen, I'm going to read them to you. They're broken down into managing yourself and then lead others. The first 3 habits is be proactive. This is the habit of choice. And this is what I had to understand. This is it's my choice to be angry. It's your choice to feel any way you're going to feel. The second habit is begin with the end in mind. That's the habit of vision. So anytime you want to create something, mental creation precedes physical creation. Define practical outcome. Number 3, put first things first. The habit of integrity and execution. This is focusing on the important, not just the urgent. Right? Plan weekly, act daily. Think win-win. This is the habit of mutual benefit. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I think this can cure the ills of what's going on with our young men and the world as a whole. I'm just be honest with you. You feel what I'm saying? Because if we become effective, then you're saying it raises us up. So then you got seek first to understand, then to be understood. This is the habit of mutual understanding. You know what I'm saying? To communicate effectively, we must first understand each other, practice empathetic listening, give honest and accurate feedback. And to be honest with you, this habit right here, number 5, is the basis of this whole show and its whole community is based off of. You notice, knock on wood, we don't need no moderators. I'm going to send that to you, Tyree. And matter of fact, I'm going to post it on my socials as well, so everybody can have this after the show. We don't have to have no moderators because everybody here, we all seek first to understand and to be understood. We listen empathetically. I know a lot of times it may be off-putting this sometimes when you first hear it, but once you hear it and see the facts laid out, you can at least, if you don't agree, you can at least empathize to see where we're coming from. Habit 6, synergize. And that's the habit of creative cooperation. It said the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. The whole of the Facts family is greater than the sum of its parts. You might be feeling down today. Somebody else might be up. They might lift you up, lift your spirits. And then the final habit is sharpening salt. This is the habit of renewal. It says to maintain and increase effectiveness, we must renew ourselves in body, heart, mind, and soul. And that's what I had to do. I had to go back, you know what I'm saying, and realize I had to renew myself. So I'm going to bless y'all with Dr. Covey speaking. And he's going to speak on habit 1. And this is about, I'm free to choose and I am responsible for my choices. I knew what my choices would lead to, and I was free to choose what I chose, and I'm responsible for the impact of my choices. And I chose to see alternatives, not roadblocks, and then focus on what I can see, on what I can influence. So here's Dr. Covey.
Now we want to look at the foundational habit. Habit 1, to be proactive. Why foundational? Because all of the other habits flow out of it. If habit 1 is present, you can cultivate the other 6. If it is not present, you will not cultivate the other 6. Habit 1, be proactive, basically means that your life is a product of your values, not your feelings. That your life, or the organization's life, is a product of your decisions, not your conditions. The opposite of being proactive is to be reactive, which basically means that your life is a function of your feelings, your moods, your impulses, other people's treatment. The underlying principle of habit 1, be proactive, is to take responsibility. The concept is you and I have the capacity to choose our response.
There it is right there. You and I have the capacity to choose our response. I had chose the capacity to how I responded to how this whole situation played out. And I want to pay close attention because this is very powerful words what he's going to say next.
If you don't believe that you're capable of choosing your own response, if you don't have that vision of yourself, if you're deep into victimism, I'll just about guarantee you will become disempowered. You will not begin with the end in mind, with careful thinking about the future. You'll be a function of the past. You will put second, third, fourth, and fifth things first, with your ladder leaning against the wrong wall. You'll think win-lose or lose-win. You'll always seek to be understood first, rather than to understand. And you'll be constantly botching all kinds of relationships because both parties feel misunderstood. Ego battles will develop. At best, you'll end up with compromise instead of synergy, and you will not take the time to sharpen the saw because you simply don't have the time to get gas. You're too busy You're buried in the thick of thin things.
Bars right there. Buried in the thick of thin things. That's when you have something that seems so important in this moment and you get so wrapped up in it and it's really not that important. And that's one of the things we all struggle with, is getting buried in the thick of thin things.
That's why habit 1 is so foundational, so basic. It is the vital, foundational component of every other habit. Again, let's define it as the capacity, the desire to subordinate impulses, moods, feelings, conditions to values based on principles. To subordinate. Until little by little our emotional life, which was once like this, gets ironed out. You still may have some ups and downs emotionally, but there is a steadiness, a constancy in your nature to where you can make and keep promises to yourself and to others, where you can treat others with kindness without capitulating your convictions.
And this is important. And I'm going to ask you this question. I don't need an answer, but do you keep the promises you make to yourself? Do you keep the promises that don't worry about everybody else. The things you promise yourself. Hey, I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to read a book. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Because if you don't keep it to yourself, it's very rare you're going to keep it to others. Keep your promises you make to yourself.
In short, to where you can begin to practice the other habits which build on top of it. How many here feel better when the weather outside is great? There's physiological reasons for that. Endorphins are released, chemical substances inside the mind through sunlight. How many do better when you feel better? That means we're reactive to the physical culture. If you were proactive, you would carry your weather within you, regardless of the physical culture. And through exuding positive energy and smiling, you also release endorphins. What about the social culture? How many feel better when you're treated better? How many do better when you feel better? That's being reactive to the social weather, the social culture. What if you could learn to carry your social weather inside so that you can be consistent in extremely difficult, adverse situations, in pursuing worthy purposes and living by natural laws or principles? That's what it means to be proactive. Are proactive. We're tested every day in 1,000 little ways, in the ordinary things. And if we are proactive in those things, it gradually develops extraordinary capability in handling major setbacks or disappointments. But oftentimes, we look into the more spectacular, the more dramatic, the larger issues to see the obvious energy of proactivity, of habit 1. For instance, Viktor Frankl.
And let me stop him right there. I'm going to give you my story of proactive. If you don't know the Mo Facts origin story, it started with a phone call in the Star Show. And then it started with a Twitter DM to Adam. You know what I'm saying? It's just being proactive. Make that phone call. And that allowed me to get on Star's platform and saying cultivate my skills and shape my skills, and I always be grateful to Star. And that gave me the courage in public speaking, because I did never like public speaking, to be honest with you. And then from there, that gave me the, well, that worked when I called there. Well, let me reach out and send Adam an email. I don't know this man from a can of paint, but you know what? Let me tell him about what he's on it about DOS, but there's a thing called ADOS really. And I sent him a DM, and that turned into a 5-hour DM conversation with him that, that changed my life. Then it would start a YouTube video, channel, and speak and say what say what you feel. And William, if I'm changing one life, bro, it was worth it, everything. And that put me in a position, to meet all of y'all. And it gave me the courage, to say, you know what? I ain't taking that stab. I'm good. And to monetize my own, my own gifts, my own talents. And for people that don't know Star, that's Star from Star Report. That's where I got my start at. Calling to his show. And just saying my piece that was not very popular at the time. Everybody knows to hear from the Star Report. No. What I was saying, this wasn't very popular at the time. But just like I'm saying, you never know that one. What he's saying is that one small step, you never know how that'll be the tipping point. That will be the catalyst for larger, greater things. Just be proactive. If you feel, you feel that pull. If destiny is pulling on you, go with it. But sometimes things don't go your way, and this next part is going to tell you how to deal with things that don't go your way. See, it's all good when it's positive, but can you deal with the things that are not that are negative? Can you accept them and make peace with them? And this is just what this story is going to break down here.
The Austrian psychiatrist, imprisoned in the death camps of Nazi Germany because he was a Jew, experienced unbelievable indignities and tortures. He was raised in the Freudian tradition that you're basically a product of your childhood. He worked on that assumption, that paradigm. But while he was in the death camps, he began to observe some very interesting things. Some people were animals, others were saints, with the same circumstances. He himself experienced terrible things. Some of his own loved ones were cremated. He expected the same fate. For some reason, they saved him for experimental purposes. One day, they stripped him naked, put him under white light, and began to perform those ignoble sterilization experiments upon his body. And he discovered what he called the last human freedom. The power to choose my response to any condition, to anything that happens to me. He called the last human freedom. And he cultivated a sense of meaning so that he saw himself in his imagination lecturing to his students in Austria following his release from the death camp about the very experiences he was having at the time, about the insights, the learnings he was acquiring. And he came to postulate that the highest value at all is the power to choose your attitude in situations over which you have no control.
And that's the moral of the story right there. The highest value is the power to choose your attitude in situations over which you have no control. And I'm gonna post the whole 7 habits. He does a whole speech. It's on YouTube. It's free. It don't cost you nothing. I'm gonna post it in the community section. But you gotta look at this. The highest value is the power to choose your attitude in situations over which you have no control. I had no control over this situation, but I chose the attitude not to stay angry. I got angry, but I channeled that anger. And I continue to channel that anger into working with the fax machine and coming up with new ideas, starting new businesses. Hey, I'm gonna start 3 LLCs this month. But you know what I'm saying? Like, bruh, I'm not gonna. He says in this, and I didn't clip this part, but he says in between your something happening and your response allows your power to decide how you respond to whatever happened. And that's what you had to realize. You know what I'm saying? You in that space of how, before you respond, that's where your real power is. How you choose, what attitude you choose, that you're saying, to have in that situation. Now, William 03 was nosy and wanted to know what I was looking at. And, you know, I never like to leave y'all on a low note. You know what I'm saying? We always like to leave on a laugh. You know what I'm saying? Have a good time. And I have here, this is the angriest black man on television and the funniest black man on television. Homie don't play that, Homie the Clown.
I heard you the first time.
Fair use.
Well, if it ain't Mrs. Charlie herself, what am I being falsely accused of now, your whiteness?
I'm sorry, are you Mr. Homie D. Clown?
No, I'm Harry D. Frog.
Oh. Yes, I've heard about you. I'm from the Department of Social Services, and I have someone I'd like you to meet. This is Homie Jr.
So let I get this straight. I'm supposed to believe that this kid is mine just because you slap a red nose on his face and paint a smile on his lips? I don't think so.
Fair use.
Homie don't play that.
That's all right, Homie Jr. I know a very nice white family that would be all too thrilled to have a little son.
So let me get this straight. You gonna let them stick me in some white family who would treat me like Webster? I don't think so.
Son.
Dad.
Well, isn't that
just the bitch finally tracked me down. I guess we got a lot of catching up to do, son. Have a seat. Let me tell you about Whitey.
Hey, you two, come on! Do the wave with us!
Oh, yeah, join in the fun with all the nice folks.
That's the spirit.
Stand up and wave our hands in the air.
Yeah, it's fun!
Debate ourselves and sacrifice our dignity and act like a jackass just like you. I don't think so.
Fair use.
Homie don't play that. And that's the story of Goldilocks and the Three Bears.
So the moral of the story is that women can't be trusted, huh, Dad?
No, white women can't be trusted.
Let's play a game.
Okay, this game is called The Man's Monopoly. I'll be the chewing gum and you be the Cheeto. Okay, you go first. Move 5 spaces.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Ah, you've landed on Bobo's Park Place.
I want to buy it.
Now, how can you buy it if you're only making minimum wage and you got a wife and 2 kids and the man's raising your rent?
Don't be homie to your kids. Don't be homie. I play this like you're saying like this is don't be a dad like this, but it's funny.
I don't know.
Exactly. So you go to jail. But since you're new at this, homie's gonna give you another chance. Go ahead, move 5 more spaces.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, I passed go. Collect $200.
Yeah, but when you pass go, you was in Mr. Charlie's neighborhood, so you go back to jail.
But I don't want to go to jail. This game's not fair.
None of the man's games are fair, son.
I'm sleepy, Dad. Where's my room?
Oh, that's over in the West Wing. Follow me, son. There you go.
Will you sing me a lullaby, Dad?
Normally, I'd hit you upside your head. But since you visiting, what the hell?
Fair use. And that's a real right there. Child abuse is offering your child up to circumstances. And teaching victimization is child abuse.
Hush, little homie, don't say a word. Ain't that a siren you just heard? Here comes a car with flashing lights to rob little homie of his human rights, which have been denied since every black clown in the days of our forefathers when they cut off little the clown taste foot and the man. I get that.
Fair use.
That's for the oppression you're about to unload on me.
Well, actually, it seems there's been a terrible mistake. I've got to take the boy back to his mother. Apparently, he, ran away from home.
Come here. So you ran away from home, huh? And tried to use homie as your backup. You have no respect for authority and decided to play by your own rules. I'm proud of you, son. I got a little surprise for you. This is homie's first sock. Use it wisely, my son.
I will, Father. Are there others like us?
Yeah, but they're scared to put on the makeup. Well, I suppose this is where we have to hug and have that tender Walt Disney moment, huh?
And I'm supposed to clutch your legs and cry as they drag me away from you.
Fair use.
Homie, don't play that.
It's a touching scene.
Shut up. Now, both of y'all, get the hell out of here before I kick you down the stairs.
Right, yes.
Hey, Junior. Get that to your mama.
Hey, y'all, thank y'all for coming out tonight. You know, I always had to end on a laugh. You know, that's one of my favorite shows. In living color, they don't make them like they used to. And with that, as I always say, pay attention to everything, and the truth will reveal itself. Good night.
Mind is in your way. No more tears do we cry, and we have finally dried our eyes, and we're moving on up, moving on up. Lord have mercy, we're moving on up, moving on up. We're living proof and all's alert that we're two from the good black girl, and we're a winner. And everybody knows it too. We just keep on pushing, like your leaders tell you.